World-renowned surgeon, educator, and physician leader. George Haruza earned a reputation for getting difficult things done in his own life, medicine, and business. Now, George Haruza will bring that results-based record to the state Senate for greater transparency to improve our schools and healthcare, to find solutions to protect our families from rising crime, to bring back high-paying jobs, and to implement policies to reduce runaway gas and grocery prices. George Haruza for State Senate, a record of getting good things done.
Paid for by Haruza from Missouri.
All the news and all that matters to you. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
All right, Tuesday on the show. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to talk to Gail Blumenkamp. He is part of a task force, Missouri task force, that's heading down to Florida to help with recovery following Hurricane Ian, which seems like it might even be worse than some of the pictures we're seeing based on some firsthand stories that we're hearing, some pictures that the three of us saw last night. So we'll be talking about that coming up after the news at 10:30. Ron, you brought up the story that, I mean, when you just mentioned it, I laughed out loud, and I can't believe that a serious person would make this kind of argument.
It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny. I loved it. So I saw a screenshot of actually it was a photo of an actual, because they still make newspapers with, paper.
I get those newspapers.
Yeah.
It's one sitting right next to her.
Yeah, Amy's got one.
Yeah.
It's a relic. And I saw this photo of one on Twitter, and it was an entire op-ed from a clinical psychologist. And I thought, this can't be real. I read the whole thing, and I'm like, this has got to be faked, the Photoshop, Onion, something.
It seems Onion-esque, I'm not going to lie.
So then I Googled it. It's not. It's not. It's real. It was in the Omaha World Herald.
What? Should Omaha and World be in the same title?
I mean, it's part of the world.
Taking pot shots at Omaha now?
It is.
Listen, we're St. Louis. We got to take it where we can. When we can.
Oh, I see. So we pick on somebody else smaller
We're
than
punching
us.
down now.
Yeah, don't punch
You
down.
want us to punch
Don't
down?
What? Am I supposed to make fun of New York City?
Yes.
Well, I mean, you could try. I mean, you could try.
Exactly. Listen, if you got to take a swing at somebody, do you have a better chance of landing on
Omaha's
Omaha?
fun. I've been to Omaha, and they have a nice brewery scene. It's pretty good. So anyway, this gentleman, and this was picked up in several newspapers. So this wasn't just, I saw many publications had posted this. The entire crux of his op-ed is that you should not high-five children.
Yeah.
Huh?
Because it's not respectful.
No.
The children are not respecting you as an adult if you let them high-five you.
So here's what he says. Respect for adults is important to a child's character development, and the high five is not compatible with respect. It is to be reserved for individuals of equal or fairly equal status. It is good for children to view responsible adults as people who exist in a higher plane. That, quote, looking up causes children to aspire to become adults, which seems to be in short supply these days. The child who is allowed to high five an adult has tacit permission to talk to said adult as if they are peers.
Can I read my favorite paragraph?
Go ahead.
This person is a professional?
Can I please read my favorite
First of all,
paragraph?
if you say these days, I'm immediately ignoring you.
These days.
Kids these days.
I got to read this, though. This is amazing. Quote, the high five is a gesture of familiarity to be exchanged between equals. I have traded the palm slap with adult friends. Dude, give me five.
Who says give me five anymore?
Oh, I'm not done. I can
Down
be.
low, too slow.
I can be and am as cool as the next. The next adult, that is. I will not slap the upraised palm of a person who is not my peer. And a peer is someone over age 21, emancipated, employed, and paying their own way.
Am I wrong for picturing Niles Crane? saying this. Some dork who's like,
Am I-
"Yeah, I'm really
Miles
cool."
is not as bad as this.
Am I wrong for hearing Amy read that in her voice and thinking, just use your voice? Because
Yeah.
that sounds like I'm as cool as the next adult. What are you
Dude, give me 5.
Just, dude, give me
Also,
5.
I guarantee you, I 100% guarantee you that guy does not give a good high five.
Oh.
I guarantee you he does the patty cake high five,
So,
He
which
says-
is
but
not a real one.
He also says the high five is not appropriate between a doctor and a patient, a judge and a defendant,
High five, Judge.
POTUS and a person not old enough to be POTUS.
if I'm I'll tell you this, if I'm ever in court, I will ask to approach the bench
High five.
and I'm putting my hand up. High five, Judge. I'm doing it.
Not guilty.
This is,
high five.
I think this is so amazing. And I almost kind of want to be like, you know what, John Rosemond, you're on to something here. John is 74. He
Aw.
is from North Carolina.
So he can't. I can't high five him then
he
because we're not
Well, no, you
peers.
could be
We're not-
over
well, no, you're
21.
adults.
Oh, is that all?
He doesn't have to be, you don't
Thought
have to
it
be
was
the
about
same age.
respect.
Well, unless
No.
he's your doctor, your judge, the president, or you're under 21.
What if he's just my homie?
Well, then you can high five
Then
him.
I can high five him.
Dude, give
Well,
me 5.
he is cool.
Okay,
Dude,
He
And
dude,
here's
if
the
I
thing.
ever
He is cool,
hear
dude.
anybody unironically say, dude, give me 5.
No,
I'm
give-
pushing
give
you
me
down the
5.
stairs.
Give me 5.
Dude,
Nobody even says
no one,
that.
no one said give
You
me
just
5
do it.
since the
It's like
60s.
no, it's 1970s. We did it as kids. They're like, you put your hand like,
Give me-
hey, bro, give me a high five. Let's go. Yeah, we did.
Hell.
We did the. You did 5 high, 5 low. Up too slow. Sorry, but
Oh,
that was the kids.
I
thing.
just, it does seem like parody. I don't think it is. And I say this as someone who's about as traditional as it gets. And I love respecting authority. And growing up, I never called my friends' parents by their first names. Like they were always Mr. and Mrs.
You know what's funny is that I did, and all of my friends, like we all called each other's parents first names.
Really?
Yeah, and I thought it was really weird when I left home
Yeah.
and went away to college and met their parents. It was always Mr. and Mrs. I was like, oh, this is interesting. We just didn't do that.
So, and what's funny is, I mean, I'm an adult, allegedly, but I'm an adult, and the parents my friends' parents, right? Well, we're both adults now. I still call them Mr. and Mrs. Like if I grew up with Mr. and Mrs., I will still call them that
I get that. Yeah.
unless they say don't call me that.
Yeah.
But it's so weird. Like Mrs. Mrs. Smith will always be Mrs. Smith.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever do that? Have you done that yet? Where you told somebody you don't have to be formal, like you don't have to call me Mister. You don't have to. I get that a lot with coaching stuff, where a guy will come back and be like, "What's up, coach?" I'm like, "You're 30. You can call me Kevin.
Oh,
You're a
my-
grown
that-
man."
I got to tell you something.
I tell
That
people
is
to call me
the
Kevin all the time.
Yeah,
Just
well,
call me
I would
Kevin.
too.
I think it's the strangest thing when, like, in a press conference for a college football coach, the reporters say, "Hey,
Yeah.
coach," like, "Coach." No, his name is Nick. Call him Nick.
I get that out of habit. Though.
Come on,
I
man. He's not better
understand
than
that.
you.
No, but I mean, I understand just out of habit doing it.
See,
I've done
I
it,
never ever
but
called.
never in that deferential way. Not like,
No, that's crazy.
coach.
I've never called a coach like a professional coach, like Craig Berube of the Blues. If I addressed him, I never said coach because he's not my coach.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
but
exactly it. They're not above
I
you.
feel like it's disrespectful.
it's not. It's not. It's not disrespectful. And by the way, it's not. It shouldn't be mandatory. But if you do it out of habit, I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah, it's
But
weird.
he's not my
Stop
coach.
doing it. What?
He's
Yeah,
not
it's
my
not your coach. Oh,
I feel like it's. I don't. I
You're
don't
both
He is-
adults.
have
He
that
is
right.
a coach.
Mr. Berube.
Mr.
Yeah.
Berube.
I mean, look. Most of the people I address in sports, it's their first name.
that's how you talk to people.
Yeah, I know. That's
because you're all
grown people.
adults.
But it's okay once in a while if you're doing it on your own. You're like, "What's up, coach?"
Do you high five your children? 314-436-7900. Or is it bad form?
Or are you a bad parent?
KMOX, built for moments like this.
We're celebrating number 4 and number 5. Let me hear you on your feet as loud as you can get.
Both of you have given so much joy as we watched you play this great game.
And it was a great honor to wear this uniform for 19 years here in St. Louis.
Thank you so much for all your support, all the joy, all the tears that we have shared together.
Here every moment.
You guys are always going to have a special place in my heart.
The best fan in baseball.
Always on KMOX.
You had a solid retirement dream, sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with Truehold. Truehold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And Truehold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since Truehold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit Truehold.com and discover how much Truehold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's Truehold.com.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Trish Gazelle for Ophthalmology Associates. For the best eye doctors, you need to see the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Online at youridoc.com or 314-966-5000.
CertaPro commercial painters have powers beyond those of ordinary painters.
Power of minimal disruption.
We work with you to ensure a smooth project.
The power of making you look good.
Making sure it's done right, on time and within budget, so every property manager looks like a hero. That's CertaPro Painters.
The power of pro.
Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated.
At 10:30, we have sunny skies, 61 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch. Abortion access in the Midwest being expanded.
Planned Parenthood says it will use a 37-foot RV as a mobile abortion clinic in Illinois. It will travel to the borders of adjoining states that have banned abortions since the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade.
The mobile abortion clinic is a way to reduce travel times and distances in order to meet patients at the Illinois border. This will make a dramatic impact on their access.
Dr. Colleen McNicholas is with Planned Parenthood in St. Louis. Jim Crisilla, CBS News.
The city of St. Louis held a community meeting to discuss what's being done to calm traffic troubles on South Grand. Rachel Witt of the South Grand Improvement District says she was impressed with the city's take on the issue.
The mayor agrees we need to do a comprehensive traffic study, which is wonderful to hear. And then also the traffic studies that have been conducted, we need to fund them.
While Mayor Jones was not at the meeting, the Streets Department says she wants something done within the next 6 months. The penalty phase of the murder trial of Richard Emery continues in St. Charles. Defense attorneys trying to avoid the death penalty by demonstrating Emery's reported personality disorders. We do have a few problems out there, minor though, but you need to watch for a stalled vehicle on the ramp from the inner belt to eastbound 70. It's going to take a while to clear that. Also a stall westbound 44 right before you get to Lindbergh Boulevard, but that is on the right-hand shoulder. The forecast is sponsored by Metro Transit. It'll be sunny and pleasant today, a high of 76 degrees. Clear skies tonight with an overnight low of 49, and then tomorrow, partly sunny, warm in the afternoon, a high of 81. Right now, 60 in Florissant, 62 in St. Peters, and sunny skies, 61 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Sponsored by Mosby Building Arts.
Mosby Building Arts here, suggesting everyone stand back and take a good hard look at your front door. Is it lacking curb appeal? Could a thief easily break in? Is it so old it's falling apart? If you answered yes to any of these questions, give Mosby Building Arts a call for a front door makeover.
What's up, everybody? Guess who's hosting a new podcast? No Mercy with Stephen A. Smith. Listen as I pull back the curtain on everything beyond the world of sports, interviewing influential guests, outspoken celebrities, and thought leaders across the political, financial, and social spectrum. You know me. I'll give you my unbiased opinion. A No Mercy episode drops every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. No Mercy with Stephen A. Smith, a presentation of Cadence 13 and Odyssey Studio, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you listen to your podcast.
Hi, this is Ken.
And Laurie Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
Join us Sundays at 9:30 a.m. for Your Retirement Highway.
Investment advisory services by individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Yes, with inflation, interest rate increases, and a possible recession looming, we are no doubt facing uncertain times in the housing market. But as a realtor with over 20 years of experience, I can tell you, if you're thinking of selling your home, now more than ever, you need a realtor to help you through these times while saving you money. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty, and we offer all of this for only 4%. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
It's simple math.
Rising prices equals tighter family budgets. I'm Katie Stewart. I'm a mom and a math teacher. In Springfield, I cut grocery taxes, froze gas taxes, and delivered income tax credits for working families. I helped pass measures to crack down on price gouging by drug companies to lower healthcare costs. I'm investing in vocational training to train workers for high-paying jobs like welders and carpenters that pay $35 or more an hour. I'm Katie Stewart. My opponent, Jennifer Cordy, has said victims of rape who choose to have an abortion will regret it later. Cordy is for a total ban on choice in Illinois. I'll protect a woman's right to choose, no matter what happens in Washington. It's why Planned Parenthood supports me. I'm Katie Stewart, candidate for state representative. I'm not a politician. I follow numbers, and our community is always first. Paid for by Friends for Katie Stewart.
Your Central Division champion Cardinals host Wild Card Weekend starting Friday. John Rooney, Ricky Horton, and Valley Sports' Dan McLaughlin bring you all the postseason play. Hear it here on your exclusive home for Cardinals baseball. KMOX.
10:35 on a Tuesday. Chris Ranji, Amy Marks, Coors, Kevin Wheeler here. We've obviously been updating you a lot on what's going on down in Florida in particular, although it wasn't the only place hit by Hurricane Ian. Florida certainly took the brunt of the damage, and a lot of recovery still ahead, a lot of damage to be sorted through. And Missouri Task Force 1 is one of the groups that's headed down that way to help with hurricane cleanup and some of the recovery process. And Gail Blumenkamp is with us. He's a part of Missouri Task Force 1. He's the assistant chief for the Boone County Fire Protection District, and they are the ones that maintain Missouri Task Force 1. First of all, Gail, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. And secondly, this is something like when you're heading down to a zone like this, a disaster area like this, how much do you know in advance what you're going to see when you finally get there?
Well, first of all, I appreciate you having us on to talk about what we're doing. Secondly, when we're en route to these areas, we are very experienced when it comes to hurricane responses. Our proximity to the Gulf of Mexico makes us one of the most active and deployed teams in the USAR system throughout the country. And so we are very used to the water rescues, the amount of flooding damage that we're going to see. But this hurricane is a little bit different in the fact that the wind damage that occurred in and around that Fort Myers, Florida areas is pretty destructive. And our task force leader even said this is one of the worst disasters he's seen.
And your focus on the Urban Search and Rescue Task Force is to help locate, remove, and provide medical care to people who have been perhaps trapped in collapsed buildings or in otherwise dire situations.
Yeah, so the main focus of our task force on this deployment is search and rescue. We took a larger complement of water rescue capabilities because of the flooding that we were going to see, but we also have all of the equipment necessary to do any large scale breaking of buildings that have collapsed. We've sent a specialized drone team. It's our DSAR team down there. To do drone operations and do targeted mapping and searches. And so we have a lot of capability down there, but our main focus is rescue, but then also locating and identifying where there may be deceased victims and then actually locating them and providing some sort of closure to the families that affects.
So when you get to the location, what is the first thing that you do or the first steps that you take in getting really prepared? I mean, you have to get there first of all, but then you need to survey the land. How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, so the first thing that occurs when we arrive in theater is we will get an assignment, or we will wait for an assignment from the local government or from the area in which we're serving. So that comes from the incident support team working with the local government officials. So once we receive that assignment, then we know what we're dealing with, whether it's a large area search or wide area search, whether it's water rescue type situations, or even humanitarian aid going house to house and just checking on people that may not have been checked on yet. So it really depends on what that mission is. And the men and women on the task force are prepared for any of those missions to be called out on a moment's notice. And they're able to go do that stuff.
You mentioned all of the capabilities you have. That must be an enormous amount of equipment, a huge amount of supplies. A, how do you get all of that where you're going? And B, how long can you be self-sufficient?
So the convoy of equipment and personnel to go down to Florida was 11 vehicles.
Okay.
And so it includes tractor trailers, F-550s with gooseneck trailers, and then obviously people movers, i.e. buses and vans and boats. And so it takes a while to get down there. We left Boone County about 11:30 in the evening on Friday, and they did not arrive into Orlando, Florida until nearly 3 a.m. on Sunday morning. So it was a 24-plus hour drive. But when you're trying to move all that equipment down a road, and once you get into Florida, there's going to be, extra traffic, heavy traffic, closed roads, that kind of thing. It took a while to get there. But once they were there, we got them bedded down. They got up that next morning after a few hours of sleep, and they were ready to go to work. And that's just a testament of those men and women that are part of this team.
Is the Missouri Task Force is it one of 28 task forces across the country?
Yeah, so there's 28 teams across the country that are supported by FEMA, and Missouri is one of those teams. And so there are only 28 in the country, and we are one of the most active and deployed teams in the country due to our proximity to the Gulf Coast.
Right, and I did also see that the first official mission for Missouri Task Force 1 was September 11th, 2001, when the World Trade Centers were hit.
That's correct. We started this team. There was a contest, more or less, to add 2 additional teams to the task force system back in the 90s. And Missouri Task Force 1 was one of those two teams chosen to be added to the FEMA USAR resource. And so we have been ready to go and trained and ready to go on a moment's notice. And you're right, 9/11 was that first deployment for this task force. And since then, we have gone on many, many missions throughout the United States, and including, the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico.
I don't think you said this yet, and if you did, my apologies, but how soon do you start to prepare to be deployed? Because we know when a hurricane is coming. I mean, days in advance, and they start to talk about it. You get the same forecasts the rest of us do, maybe even better ones. So when does the team start to get prepared to move, thinking that you're probably going to have to?
So, you're right. We can see the prediction of the hurricanes coming. We have a pretty good idea where they're going to hit. And through our experience and discussions with FEMA, we can predict or pre-plan that we may be going. There is no authorization to expend funds until we are actually notified and pulled for that deployment. So we can pack things, we can have things ready to go, we can have the trucks full of all the equipment, etc. But until they actually issue the order for us to deploy, there are no funds being expended. So when we receive that mission, we have 4 hours to get out the door. That's all the people coming from all across the state of Missouri to Boone County. We get them checked in. We have over 100,000 pounds of equipment. All of the trucks and trailers have to be checked. Everything has to be loaded, and we got to be on the ground or out the door in 4 hours.
Wow,
If we go by air, we got 6 hours. So it's not a big difference. But it's a very quick process. So to say that we're always ready, that would be a fair statement.
That is a quick turnaround, and I'm wondering, does it ever happen where you get packed up, you get ready to go, and then they don't deploy you?
It actually has happened. We have been deployed for a hurricane down in the Gulf Coast, and actually been turned around prior to our arrival at that theater of operation. So it does happen. We do a lot of pre-planning and a lot of work here, but we will not call in those members that are deploying until we have authorization from FEMA that we are going somewhere.
And now you guys are deployed in Florida with the hurricane, and is it just an open-ended end date? You don't know how long you'll be down there?
No, these deployments are typically 14 days. They could stretch out to maybe 16 or 17 if we needed travel time to get back. But we went to Hurricane Katrina, and we actually deployed down there for 14 days. The team returned back here to Boone County for 2 days, and we redeployed again for a second mission to Hurricane Katrina. Now, do we anticipate that happening here in Florida? Not really sure at this point. We're pretty early into this disaster, but our team is prepared to be down there for 14 days.
That was going to be my question is compared to what you saw during Katrina and where you are now, and it's still in the very early stages. What are the differences? I mean, I don't want to speculate if it's worse or about the same or whatever, but what have you noticed so far?
Well, what the teams have said and what they've seen is, Hurricane Katrina was truly a flooding issue. New Orleans sits in a bowl, and so once that water got in there, it took a while to get that water out of there. So that's the issue and the difference between Katrina and what we're dealing with today. This hurricane was a wind event that came onto the shores there around Fort Myers, Florida, and it destroyed a lot of structures, and we have a lot of damage due to wind. Now there was some flooding, yes, but it quickly receded, and so at this point, we're not dealing with water rescues. We're dealing with wide area searches and trying to assess each of the buildings that we come in contact with and make sure there's no victims or anybody in those buildings needing assistance.
Gail, what are the biggest challenges for the team at the moment? I mean, there's a lot to navigate around. I mean, it's Florida, which means there are swamps and bodies of waters that have all kinds of animals that you guys, I'm sure, would want to be aware of. What kind of hazards and things are you worried about? Are you concerned about when you're going through this process?
Well, all of those hazards that you mentioned. And then, obviously there's a hazardous materials component to all of this all the time. When there's flooding, things get mixed together that shouldn't be mixed. And so we have those issues to deal with. And then just access. Truly getting our vehicles and our people to the areas of most disaster or worst disaster. Just trying to get into those areas sometimes is a challenge. And, we got that drone team that's able to go out and do searches in areas that we're not able to access. Yesterday alone, that drone team searched over 300 boats on San Carlos Island. And they were able to clear those boats and provide, registration numbers and names. And the Port Authority was able to clear and confirm all the captains and crew were accounted for on those boats.
That is great. Well, you guys, Gail, do great work. We really appreciate your time here explaining to us how this works and how this all came about. You guys have everybody stay safe. Hopefully the mission is successful and you guys can return home in a couple of weeks and get back to, I guess, what would be considered a normal life at that point. But great work, and thank you so much for the update.
Yeah, if I can say one more thing, I just want to throw out there that without the support of these members, employers, and their families, these missions would not be possible or as successful as they are. So a big thank you to those employers and family members.
It's a great point. We really appreciate the work you guys are doing, Gail. Take care.
All right, thank you.
You got it. That is Gail Blumenkamp. He's the assistant chief for the Boone County Fire Protection District, but also a member of Missouri Task Force 1. And it's funny, I mean, I didn't know the 9/11 thing until you brought it up, Amy, but 9/11, Katrina, now this, I mean, this is a group of people that is very experienced, and they have a lot of people on this task force. I think something like 250-ish total, but they don't all go down. 80 of them go down, but it's a massive effort.
It's really extraordinary what they've done. And he's right. Since September 11th of 2001, the task force has been deployed many, many times. And again, when we see disasters like this, it's amazing to see how many people run towards, right? They run towards the fire. They run toward the disaster area to help out, and really extraordinary what they're doing.
Massive challenge down there too. And so we've been hearing things off the air. I know some friends of mine down there too. Things may be worse than you'd think.
Yeah.
Like they're still sorting through to find out how bad it's going to be. Hopefully that's not true, but obviously a major concern. All right, coming up next, we'll tell you what's trending here on the show.
Sure, we all love to have a clean home, but what about the things that you can't see that are making your home dirty? I'm talking about germs, bacteria, mold, and more. This is Debbie Monterey, and you really need to call Beam of St. Louis if you want a truly healthy home. Beam of St. Louis can provide you with a whole house HEPA air filtration system that provides HEPA pure air 24/7 in every room in your home. It'll help reduce allergy symptoms without a prescription. For the healthiest home possible, make sure you have a Beam Central Vacuum System. It removes 100% of the collected germs, bacteria, mold, and dust. So, a Beam Central Vacuum System and a Beam Whole House HEPA air filtration system. The folks at Beam of St. Louis are great to work with, fantastic customer service, one-day installation. Give them a call at 314-567-1515 or online at beamstl.com. That's Beam of St. Louis. You'll be glad you called.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is the required monthly test of the emergency alert system. This station serves the bi-state St. Louis operational area. This concludes this test of the emergency alert system.
Hello, this is Chad Clayman again with ClaymanGroup.com, KLAMEN Group.com, 946-9999. We're locally and family owned, and we bought over 50 properties this year. A lot of times people are looking to sell their property as is, and maybe they've talked to another investor and didn't get a good offer, and we came in and made a better offer. Because of our economies of scale, we can usually pay more than all other investors in town and provide probably one of the strongest offers you'll get. Reach out to us today, KLAMEN Group.com or 314-946-9999.
Goodwill and St. Louis Union Station have teamed up to take you under the sea and over St. Louis. When you donate a car, running or not, you can receive 4 tickets to the St. Louis Union Station's aquarium and wheel. Donating a car to Goodwill is quick and easy, and towing is free. Plus, you'll get a good feeling from donating to a charity that does so much in our community. For more information, visit mersgoodwill.org.
Odyssey celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month and the trailblazers who made their mark worldwide. She is known as the Queen of Salsa. Celia Cruz won 8 Grammy Awards in her 40-year career. In addition to her accolades in music, Celia was awarded the National Medal of Arts by President Bill Clinton in 1994, inducted into the Billboard Music Hall of Fame and the International Latin Music Hall of Fame in 1999. More on the Odyssey app, and celebrate the sounds and stories of Hispanic heritage at odyssey.com/HHM.
Congress has authorized trillions in new spending, along with doubling the size of the IRS agency in just the last few months. Do you think that is by accident? No, it is with a purpose: to go after small businesses, employees, and individuals who have not filed or paid their taxes. If this is you, don't panic, just call. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee, which includes costs and expenses, that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120. Or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
This is Corey with Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Shopping around for new HVAC systems is something nobody ever wants on their to-do list. So let's help make things easier with free estimates on new equipment, up to $2,150 on Carrier Cool Cash rebates, and 0% financing for up to 72 months. With over 50 years of award-winning service, you can trust Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling with your new system install. For details and to get in your comfort zone, contact Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling at aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
For all your communication needs, check out the Center for Hearing and Speech. Call today, 314-968-4710 or chsstl.org.
Hi, this is Ken.
And Laurie Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
Join us Sundays at 9:30 a.m. for Your Retirement Highway.
Investment advisory services by individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Fun in the sun is no fun at all without sunscreen. Just like reapplying sunscreen helps continue protection against the sun, a booster shot can help enhance protection against COVID-19 after a primary series vaccination. Schedule a booster appointment when eligible. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444. Amy Marks Course.
This is my show, my microphone.
On the show.
What is it? What's happened?
What's going on? What do you know?
What just happened?
What happened?
I need to know.
Trending now on the show.
All right, trending is sponsored by Old Town Donuts in Florissant and Connellville. I have a quick trend for you guys. It's in St. Louis. Melina is trending because today is Yadier Molina Day.
Right.
That's
October 4th.
Today is Yadier Molina Day, and I'd say not only is it trending on Twitter, but the text line, 314-436-7900, hit that a little bit ago. 573 mentioned. Everybody should wear those number 4.
Officially declared by the mayor over the weekend.
Although, when Wayno was speaking, one of the boards for the day blew over.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't know which one that was, but one of you doesn't get a day now.
Oh.
Because one of the proclamations. Well, this is just incredible day then, because not only is it Yadier Molina
So then
Day,
hold on a second. Is tomorrow Albert Day?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah,
10
5.
5.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. Just making sure.
Weren't you paying attention?
I think I was not.
I think you were not too.
Yeah. But I figured.
Yeah, good for you.
Thank you.
Not only is it Yadier Molina Day, guys, it's also National Taco Day.
Dude.
Not just Taco Tuesday, because it is Taco Tuesday, but it's National Taco Day.
You know what else? What else it is?
What?
Cinnamon Bun Day.
This is the
National
best
Cinnamon
day.
Bun Day.
Dude, we have to have a show outing after the show. Tacos and Cinnabons.
Yeah.
That's
We'll go to Mission Taco. The South Beach burrito is my favorite.
It
I
is
know it's
very
not a
good.
taco,
That's
though,
not a taco, though.
but it's Mission Taco. And I'll get the South Beach
All
burrito.
right.
I saw a thing and it said, if you had to choose between being skinny and eating tacos, would you do hard shell or soft shell?
Yeah. Soft shell.
I don't know. I have different days. Like
Yeah,
there are days
yeah.
I feel like the crunch.
Today is the soft shell.
Yeah.
One
me.
time after swim practice, I was in first grade. I ate 7 Taco Bell crunchy tacos.
How many?
7.
Lightweight.
Yeah.
I was
What's
a
your
first
record,
grader.
Ron?
I was a first
Do you have a
grader.
record?
Oh, let's go with that 10-pack. Give me a 10-pack. Let's go.
In college, I did the
I did
dozen.
too. On a road trip, I did it.
Yeah.
Guys, I was in first grade. 6 or 7 is pretty good. But you did a dozen? You
Don't-
would do a dozen tacos?
Don't diminish our story topping.
Well,
Yeah.
We just did the
well,
Johnny
you
story
went up
topper to you.
Ron,
No,
because Ron
that's what
goes,
I'm
I
saying.
ate 10 tacos. And then
Tommy.
Kevin goes, I ate 12 tacos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kevin, Tommy Topper over there.
I know.
I'm one up Willie.
I forgot I ate 13 tacos one time.
13? You did not,
Mine
you
was actually
liar.
14.
Oh, I forgot.
Was that which skit was that on Saturday Night Live? That one lady, she was always like, "Oh, I'm even better than you." I was like, I forget who. There was, it was Kristen Wiig was the character, and she was always doing that at a party.
Oh.
Somebody would say, "She's like, oh yeah, well I did 72."
It's kind of like The Liar with the old one. The
I don't
Liar.
remember that. I remember the Mr. Show. You ever heard of Mr. Show? And they had the sketch about like 34. That's the only number. That's the highest number there is. What about 35? I said that's not it.
Tom Ackerman here for Building Community with Busey Bank, a podcast series easily accessible at KMOX.com/community banking. This month, the United Way celebrates 100 years of helping those in our region. And of course, Busey Bank continues its long-standing involvement. Our October podcast focuses on what the United Way means to our community and the many ways you can get involved. Listen to our October podcast, Building Community with Busey Bank, at KMOX.com/community banking.
What started as a small, dedicated group helping a handful of nonprofits has blossomed into a movement that addresses the needs of our entire region. 100 years later, this movement is woven into the fabric of this community, a movement rooted in collectively helping each other, transforming lives, and making the St. Louis region a better place. That is the United Way. Learn more. HelpingPeople.org.
Hey, it's Bo Matthews. On behalf of Beast Plumbing, want to educate you on what a hose bib is. A hose bib is basically your outdoor faucet to get water to your backyard or your driveway or on your business. And sometimes they go bad. They either leak or the handle breaks. You need to get that replaced. Well, Beast Plumbing is offering in the month of October $25 off replacement hose bibs and $50 off new hose bibs. They've got a new number you can put in your phone, 314-500-LEAK. That's 314-500-LEAK, or find them online at BEISplumbing.com. Tell them Bo sent you to Beast Plumbing.
What really matters to you? At Archwell Health, that's what matters to us. When Linda told her doctor about the trip her family planned for her 70th birthday, our team worked together to improve her mobility. Then there's Shirley, who wanted to lose a little weight. She and her doctor chose an Archwell Health exercise class, and her dietitian also had a few ideas. We're here to help you live your life to the fullest because you are more than a patient. Join today at archwellhealth.com/livewell.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Bill talks about why he loves 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
I was looking to renovate a home that I purchased. They came out, did all of the work in a timely fashion, and looks first rate.
Bill, would you recommend 3-Day Kitchen and Bath?
Oh, yes, definitely. Not only because of the quality of the work, but also the quality of the service along the line. From the beginning until the end, that they were there and with me. And as we went along, I saw some things that I thought I might want to change, and we're happy to do that. Really pleased with the way they work. As I said, not only the quality of the work, but also the quality of the service along the way.
It's about time.
3 days or less
at 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 11 o'clock, it's sunny and 64 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour. Country singer Loretta Lynn has died, the daughter of a coal miner whose songs about life and love set her atop the country music industry.
Lynn was one of the most well-known female country singers. She started out in the early 60s and had more than 70 hits. It was her autobiography and later a movie about growing up in poverty that sealed her fate as a country music icon.
Well, I was born a coal miner's daughter. I'm about as old-fashioned as I can be, and I hope you're liking what you see. 'Cause if you're looking at me, you're looking at country.
Cammie McCormick, CBS News.
Loretta Lynn was 90 years old. Nearly a week after Hurricane Ian smashed into Florida and carved a path of destruction that reached into the Carolinas, hundreds of thousands of Florida residents are facing another day without electricity. 79 deaths have been blamed on Ian, with 71 of them in Florida. North Korea has conducted its longest ever weapons test, a nuclear-capable ballistic missile that flew over Japan and could reach the U.S. Pacific territory of Guam and beyond. The Supreme Court has taken up a key voting rights case from the Deep South.
The court is considering a lawsuit seeking to force Alabama to create a second black majority congressional district. A lawyer for the state told the justices.
That is our core argument, that it cannot be that they can come forward with a map that we would never be allowed to draw.
NAACP lawyer Duell Ross spoke on behalf of the plaintiffs.
There's nothing race neutral about Alabama's map.
While 27% of Alabama residents are black, only one of the state's 7 congressional districts is mostly African American. Jim Crisula, CBS News.
Federal health officials are urging Americans to roll up their sleeves and get a flu shot.
The Southern Hemisphere just had the worst flu season they've seen in 5 years. Dr. William Schaffner with Vanderbilt says what happens there is an indication of what we might see here.
So if you wanted a hint of what might happen here, and you wanted yet another reason to be vaccinated, there it is.
This year, there is a new recommendation for flu vaccines for those 65 and older. Dr. Rochelle Walensky with the CDC says that age group should get one of 3 higher dose flu vaccines.
These vaccines are potentially more effective than standard dose unadjuvanted flu vaccines.
But she says if the high dose vaccine is not available, go ahead and get any age appropriate flu vaccine instead. Sabrina Cupid for CBS News, Atlanta.
The First Mid Bank and Trust business test. The Federal Aviation Administration is giving flight attendants the green light to get more rest between shifts. There must now be a 10-hour rest period between shifts. That's an hour more than the current requirements. CBS News senior travel editor Peter Greenberg.
The FAA rule not only expands the required rest period, but redefines it. In the past, a flight attendant's rest period started when the plane stopped at the gate, but the travel time from the airport to the crew hotel could sometimes be 90 minutes. Now the clock starts ticking only when the crew arrives at the hotel. That ensures a full 10 hours of rest between flights.
The Dow from Stifel's up 761 points to 30,251. Traffic, a stall 270 south before Manchester on the right shoulder, 70 west at I-170 on the right shoulder, 44 west, there's debris. At 141, the left lane is closed. An emergency vehicle 70 east past 270 on the right shoulder.
This afternoon, sunny and pleasant. Enjoy it. High at 76 degrees. Tonight, mainly clear, low 49. Heading into tomorrow, partial sunshine, nice and shaping up to be a warm afternoon with a high of 82. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Matt Benz on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
It's sunny, 66 in Florissant, 67 in St. Peter's, 64 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Sponsored by News Nation.
Chris Cuomo is back with a new show on a new network. Catch Cuomo weeknights on News Nation at 8, 7 Central. To find News Nation on your television provider, go to newsnation.com/join us.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than $4? 314-441-4444.
Coming up on 11:05 on the show, Chris Ranji, Amy Marskors, Kevin Wheeler with you here. And something we've brought up a number of times, and we've brought up the push to legalize recreational marijuana. We've talked about, Ranji especially, I know we both have an interest in sports betting finally becoming legal in Missouri. Every state surrounding Missouri has it. Gee, I wonder where everybody's money's going when they get the opportunity to do that.
Illinois, Kansas,
all these other places. Well, to get an update on where all of that stands and kind of what we could be looking at next, and perhaps a few other things as well, we have Mike Lira, who's the chairman of the Missouri Gaming Commission, with us here on the show. Mike, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Thank you for doing this. So for all of our listeners that maybe don't track this as much as say, Chris and I do, kind of where do we stand at the moment when it comes to sports betting in Missouri?
Well, the Gaming Commission's prepared. It's just we need the legislature to come forth with a bill that is acceptable by the governor and become law. And it would be soon after that, probably within 90 days. So we've been prepared for this because legislation has been put forth for several years now, but just unable to cross the line. So with the new legislature coming into session in January and pre-file of bills begins December 1st, we anticipate there will be a number of bills filed, and we'll have to see what moves and potentially makes it to the governor's desk.
So where are the objections to it? Because not everybody is on board. However, we know all the professional teams in the state want it to happen, and those are some pretty important entities.
Well, the resistance has come from parts of the state that don't have the ability to have gaming for whatever manner that is. Right now, Missouri authorizes gambling in casinos on the two major rivers, the Missouri and the Mississippi. And other parts of the state, they don't want any part of it. So we have senators and representatives that just do not want to expand that gaming. Sports betting likely would expand gaming to every part of the state via phone or internet of some sort. So that's where we see resistance is from legislators that do not want an expansion of gaming.
And with the expansion of gaming and that pushback, that is generally based on their specific moral or social issues versus an economic issue in those areas.
Yeah, it really is. It's primarily what we are seeing. But the irony here is that we have some senators that don't want to see an expansion of gaming, but if they're going to, they're willing to license some of the gray machines that are out that we see in gas stations or bars, wherever those may be. So that's kind of the strange part of it is, well, we'll approve. We've seen this in the last session. We'll go along with expanding sports betting if we put some reins in on these other machines too. So kind of strange.
The whole thing is strange to me. But I wonder, Mike, would it be possible if you're in a county, for example, or even a city where you don't approve of gambling, where the people who live there don't want sports betting, would it be even possible for them to just simply have local rules about that, where the state has its set of guidelines and they decide, well, our county, this is illegal, you can't do it here? Or is that just Fantasyland stuff?
Well, I'm not going to say that's Fantasyland because geofencing is what is keeping Missourians from gambling on other sites,
right,
other casinos. So the geofencing is effective. Would these other counties have the ability to take in geofencing and eliminate it from their county? Probably not, but I guess in theory that's possible. But the legislation that we've seen moving forward and coming close to the finish line has has been that the casinos would have servers where all of the gaming would run through one of the 13 licensed casinos in Missouri.
So are all the casinos on board with this, or are there some that don't? I believe in Illinois, if I'm not mistaken, a few years ago, there were a couple of northern casinos that were pushing back against I think sports books downstate, and maybe I'm wrong about that, but that seems to be the conversation that was going on. Are there some casinos that are not wanting this to happen?
In Missouri, we have not seen any resistance. We have only seen support from the 13 casinos. What you may be speaking of in Illinois may be because I think there was some off-casino sports
That's what it
betting
was.
that went through.
You're right.
Through sports books that were not part of the casino. So that's likely what that resistance came from. However, in Missouri, we are seeing no resistance, only support from the 13 casinos.
When you're looking at gaming and sports betting and some of the pushback that you may or may not get, are those who are opposed or reluctant, are they ever asking for data? It's like, I'm guessing they assume it's like a vice and they're afraid, like, do we want to profit off of this? Or do they look at data at other states that have allowed sports betting and the ramifications or consequences of that?
Well, that's always been the counterpoint that the people supporting sports betting say, hey, you're missing out on this revenue. Your state is losing this. Or your customers that are going using some sort of an offshore, or they don't have any regulation or complaint process. But the revenue is a fair argument, I think. But the people who view it as a vice are going to view it as a vice, and they don't care about the revenue. That's been what I have seen.
It's fascinating. I mean, on a lot of levels, there's a real rational thought process here. Is the gambling is happening. We know this nationwide. People have been gambling even before the restrictions on states choosing for themselves was lifted not that long ago. And that's kind of that battle, right, Mike? It's the battle of this is what's happening. And do we want to have some control over it and maybe benefit it from it or some way or not? Or do we just want to leave it to essentially the black market?
Well, yeah, it's exactly right. We have every state but one. I don't think Tennessee has enabled sports betting yet. That's the only one bordering Missouri that does not have it. So, do you allow the people near the borders to just drive across the border, place their bet, and come back, or take that chance with some offshore type of system? Whether you get paid or not, you never know. There's nowhere to complain or regulate it. I think that it's coming. I believe that it is, and that's why we have been prepared for it. It appears that there's some resistance, but here again, we rein in some other problems in the state. I think that the legislature will approve something and get something to the governor's desk. What that is, there's just no way to tell.
So what is, in your estimation, what is the realistic benefit to the state on a yearly basis once this finally goes through?
Well, we have to take estimates. What have other states done that have passed this? What have the revenues grown to? So in our estimation, we have to calculate a fiscal note when these bills are filed and give those projections to the legislature in order for discussion. So we estimate that once ramped up, it would be approximately $150 million in additional revenue to the casinos, of which what level of tax will be charged. The current tax rate for casinos on gaming, on the gross, it minus the payout. So, but no expenses are deducted, but that's 21%. The legislation that we have seen make it the furthest was a 6% tax on sports betting. So if that's the case, we're looking at $9 or $10 million. It doesn't sound like a tremendous amount. However, the casinos believe that they'll have a whole new generation of people coming into the casino. Other revenues would rise with that also. But from sports betting, our initial projection is fully implemented about $150 million in revenue. What tax rate do you apply? If it's 21%, like table games and slot machines, it'll be more. But if it's the lowest end that we've seen is 6%, $9 or $10 million.
I was going to ask you, in other states that have sports betting, what is the average percent on sports betting?
Those ranges from 6 to 21%.
Gotcha.
Interestingly enough, though, the licensing fees in other states are much higher than they are in Missouri.
Interesting. Whole thing is fascinating. We've been talking about it for a while and trying to get our arms right, because I believe it was, Ron, wasn't it about a year and a half, 2 years ago, it sounded like it was close. And
it was close.
Yeah. Kind of like in the same spot that we were 2 years ago.
That last week of session, anything can happen. There was a poison pill dropped on the bill, and that was the end of it.
So in the way it works, if it does get introduced in December, I mean, we're talking about like a year, right?
Well, for it to be fully implemented,
Yeah.
possibly.
Okay.
Let's assume that it goes all the way to the last week of session, the middle of May. The governor has till July 15th to sign the bill. Then it becomes law August 28th. But we're ready to go with rules and regulations. However, this time around, in the past couple of weeks, the Senate leadership that is expected to come back in January has stated that a gaming bill, a sports betting bill, will be priority bill for this coming session. So interestingly enough, that could happen. It could be done earlier. It could be done in February or March. Not likely, but it could. And then if the legislature is in session with a bill truly agreed and finally passed, I believe it's 15 days that the governor has to sign or veto that bill.
Well, Mike,
so it could happen earlier. We'll just have to see.
It's a fascinating story. We'll keep following it. And thank you for the information and the update. We appreciate it. I'm sure we'll check in with you somewhere down the road, but thanks so much.
We'd be glad to help. Thanks.
You got it. Mike Lear is the chairman of the Missouri Gaming Commission. Just the problem I always have with these types of things, whether it's this or legalizing marijuana, is the inconsistency. Some vices are okay, other vices are not. And it's like, it's got to be, to me, it's got to be, we're getting rid of them all, or they're all okay. Not to a degree. I mean, if we're going to be like, well, you can have your cigarettes and booze, but you can't have sports betting. Well, what are we doing?
It just seems like it's silly that it's going to happen eventually anyway. What's the point of prolonging it while we could be making money off of it? Because what if it takes a year? If it takes 2 years or longer, that's a year or 2 years of tax money you're not going to see in the state, because people, it's legal in other places, and Missourians are doing it. They're just going to other states to do it. It doesn't make any sense at all. You're not going to stop them from doing it. You can't stop people from driving across the river to Illinois, parking in the Casino Queen parking lot, and placing bets, and then going back across the river.
Or getting a VPN so that
I wouldn't
figure out where you are.
Yeah, but I wouldn't lump like all the quote unquote vices together. I mean, you could make an argument for sports betting, but then also say that smoking cigarettes is not something that we want.
Right, but there's no push to make it illegal.
No, but again, like, you can't lump all vices together. And then to Ranji's point, just about regulating it, if it's going to happen, I think it's just one of those things that politics is downstream from culture, and it's a lot
not
of times,
always,
not always, but a lot of times.
Sometimes.
That's the. Okay.
I know that. I know
Let's
it's
do
a
this
very.
until 11:30.
It's a catchy thing.
It's a Breitbart thing. I know he loves that.
The what? The sometimes
Politics is downstream from culture thing. That's his thing,
Oh.
or was his thing.
Yeah, but I mean, don't get me wrong. As someone who's benefited from Title IX, you also know that sometimes there has to be legislation or decisions that push culture along. However, that's like why I think people come around to legalizing marijuana. It started with legalizing medical marijuana. Recreational marijuana will come around. It's just the way it's going to happen. But you want to make sure you do it the right way.
Sure. But I mean,
it
in the
doesn't
meantime,
take 3 or 4 years to figure out the right way.
No, you can be able to figure this out
it's
pretty
not
quickly.
that complicated.
It is when you've got politicians working on it.
Well, I know, but it shouldn't. I mean, the point is it shouldn't be, because we're losing money in the meantime. The state is losing money. And I know we got a surplus. We're not going to have a surplus forever.
No.
And you never say no to introducing more revenue streams to the state.
Yeah. And again, when most of the opposition is doing it on moral grounds, why should you get to impose your morals on other people?
Well,
I mean,
you got everyone, politicians, right and left. You look at society and you decide what's good or bad for society.
We've already got casinos. I mean, they're
and
already
lottery.
here.
You can buy a lottery ticket and have no chance of
Doesn't
winning.
make any sense.
Yeah.
Feeding America is working with local food banks in Florida to assist those affected by Hurricane Ian. To support Feeding America, make a donation at feedingamerica.org. A message from the caring voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Guys, if you've been sitting on the fence and you haven't taken the step that I've been asking you to take, go ahead and do it this weekend. Get ready for your sports weekend. You've got playoff baseball, you've got college football, you got the pros, you got the whole weekend, and it's always best to have things set in stone by going to the grocery store, getting to the freezer aisle, and checking out the Brew Pub Lots of Mozza Pizza. You're going to get a half pound of award-winning mozzarella cheese, thin crispy crust, just the right amount of sauce. I mean, sauce makes a good pizza, but when there's too much of it or there's too little of it, it changes. There's great balance of that with the Brew Pub Lots of Mozza Pizzas and a lot of great choices. You've got the traditional ones, pepperoni, sausage, cheese pizza, however you want to go there. If you want to have some fun, the taco pizza, the Hawaiian one, all of them are fantastic, and they show off the ingredients. That's why they're in the clear plastic wrapping, so you can see exactly what you're getting. It's the Brew Pub Lots of Mozza Pizza. You can pick it up in the freezer aisle at your favorite grocery store today.
This is Debbie Monterey with a real estate update and some insight for my friend and trusted realtor, Gloria Liu, with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria told me that sitting on the sidelines may not be the best strategy moving forward in this continually shifting market. Homes aren't selling as quickly, and in most cases, price reductions are becoming pretty common. Gloria also said that earlier this year, with low inventory, sellers didn't need a strategy to sell homes because homes were listed and sold immediately. Now more than ever, it's crucial to have a proven strategy to get your home sold, and that's why I strongly suggest you call local real estate expert Gloria Liu before you list your home to get the absolute most money. Gloria is so confident that she will sell your home, she'll guarantee in writing upfront to sell it at your agreed-to price and time frame, or she'll buy your home herself. Learn more by calling Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or online at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
Starting to feel the cold, crisp air seep in? Book your free consultation and save money on your energy bills with our Smart 365 energy efficient windows. Visit us at stlwindowsdirect.com.
STL Windows Direct.
What a great meeting. I loved everything he said. I think we've found our new financial advisor.
I hated him.
What? Why?
He never even looked at me.
It's a story that's been repeated over and over in the financial industry. And it's the reason Deanna Orff at the All Financial Group is so passionate to change it. That's why on October 18th, she's hosting an exclusive women's event called Women in Wealth. It's an open forum for you to learn more about markets, investing, and planning for retirement, and a setting where you can ask questions. It's a fact that 90% of women will at some point be solely responsible for their finances. This could be a great first step. The Women in Wealth event on October 18th. It's free, but you do need to make a reservation. So call 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory services offered through All Financial Group LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuity products are offered through Stephen All, Missouri license 8039738.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Paramount Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Brown. The physicians at Paramount Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Paramount Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
Work or play, KMOX is right there with you. We go where you go.
All right, coming up on 11:30 here on the show. Coming up after the 11:30 news, Hall of Famer Rick Hummel is going to join us. He, along with Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina, he's another one of the Hall of Famers that is calling it a career, at least on a full-time basis, at the end of this baseball run. I'm looking forward to talking to the commish here in just a little bit. How do you guys feel about random calls out of the blue?
Love them.
What do you mean?
From friends.
Oh.
I'm not talking telemarketers. Those suck.
I hate it. I hate it.
You're not a fan of friends calling you?
I
No.
get nervous now because we're not a culture that calls anymore. Hold on, some of us aren't a culture that calls anymore. I don't want to throw any platitudes around, but
Well, you love platitudes. You might as well.
But in a lot of younger generations, calling's not that popular. So when I get a call, my first reaction is
Something
oh, no.
bad happened.
Oh no!
Depends on who's calling.
So honestly, this is terrible, but about a month and a half ago, I have a friend who I text with sometimes, and he has literally, when I say literally never called, he has literally never one time called me, and he called me.
Oh no.
And it was really, really bad news.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, see, this is why I don't like phone calls.
Yeah.
Well, that's number one. But
I
number
think we all
two is
agree
I
that
think
bad
it's
news calls are bad.
well, but when the phone rings and you see the name, and the first thought is, why is this person calling me?
Mm-hmm.
Why is this not a text message? Because I know it can't be good, or at the absolute least, it's going to be inconvenient.
Yeah.
Like they're just going to call me and start talking, and I'll say yes. What? Yeah,
There
why
are-
are we talking?
Maybe a couple of people that when I see their ID on my phone because they're calling, I'm not worried. But 98% of the people I know, if they called me,
Yeah.
I would either think, oh no, this is bad news, or oh no, this is something I don't want to do.
Okay, but the
That's
first
it.
one is a
Yeah.
momentary thing.
Inconvenience.
Because if you answer the phone and they're like, hey, just I was thinking about you. I wanted to say hello. How you doing?
Then I go, why did you call? Why
Exactly.
Did you just text? Now
This-
I'm worried.
I worried for 3 seconds. You ruined my day.
You know how people say this meeting could have been an email? This phone call could have been a text.
I've called Ranji, I can think of at
Ugh.
least 4 times.
And every time is a why.
Because I'm driving.
Then wait till you get home and text me. I don't
It's an
need
hour. I need to tell you right then.
I don't need a phone conversation with you.
Well,
or
you'll
really
be getting one.
anybody. And I had to one time, I had to tell my mom to not call me after like 10 o'clock. And it's not that I'm up. Okay, I'm always up after 10.
Yeah.
It's because if it's after 10, I had the feeling that something bad happened, and that's why she's calling me.
Yeah.
So I said, do not call me after 10 o'clock unless something really bad has happened. Like I
Oh.
had to let her know that. Because I just had this bad feeling if it was late, because she usually goes to bed early. And then when I get a phone call from her randomly at like 10:15, I look at the name and I go, oh God, oh no, Kevin's calling me and I can't wait to ignore this phone call. Ignored. And so the reason I thought about this, because there was a study and it actually came out a few months ago, but I didn't see it until yesterday. And it was a survey of 5,900 people from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. And their study found that people like it when a friend contacts you. Like it's beneficial to your well-being
Mhm.
when friends reach out.
Mhm.
And I think that sounds great, but they didn't find any difference, at least as far as I could tell, between texts and calls. But I think calls are way worse. I hate them. I don't want to talk on the phone with you. If I text you, just send me a message
I mean,
back.
generally, I would agree. But like, if one of my best friends calls,
Eh.
I'm not going to be like, damn it, my best friend's calling. What's wrong with
Producer
him?
Dave called me the other day, threw the phone in the trash.
You just ignored my call right now. What the heck, man? Just trying to reach out and be friendly.
I'm already talking to you. I don't want to do it anymore.
Hey, we've got Rick Hummel joining us after the news.
Doing a radio show is a weird thing because you're really putting yourself out there.
Weekdays at 2, it's the DGS.
I hope you guys get this about me. I have opinions. We all have opinions.
Just another opinion.
One of the differences you'll find with me, although I can be quite defensive, is that I'm always willing to change my opinion. I'm always willing to take in new information and go, I was wrong about that.
The Dave Glover Show, weekdays beginning at 2
Just another opinion.
on KMOX.
You know, the Midwest money slogan, isn't cash in the bank better than scrap in the drawer? This is Johnny Rabbit, Midwest Money, the oldest coin shop in St. Louis. Buying, selling, and trading since 1971. Silver and gold, coins, sterling silver, flags, medals, daggers, and more. Not sure what you have? Bring your collectibles to someone you can trust. Midwest Money, at the corner of Hampton and Holly Hills. You'll be happy you did.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that your car's transmission is made up of 800 pieces. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO's fixed over 40 million transmissions, and that AMCO offers a nationwide warranty.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
That's AMCO, AA, MCO.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan, proud customer of Banner Construction. One of the safest investments you can make today is an exterior renovation to your home. And Banner Homes have timeless beauty, striking curb appeal, and ultra-low maintenance. If you take pride in your home, trust it to the team of experts at Banner Construction. Since 1993, my friends at Banner Construction have engineered their projects to go beyond the basic low-cost solutions. You know, that's more than 25 years of experience. And now is the perfect time to call the experts at Banner Construction. They're ready to help. If you're looking for windows, you should know that Banner is a James Hardie Elite Preferred Contractor. James Hardie Fiber Cement Siding has the rich look and feel of wood. And Banner's also a Platinum Certified Pella Window Contractor. Those Pella windows are beautiful, and they come with a 30-year warranty. 314-569-1050 or visit their website, bannerconstruction.com, and make sure you have a banner day.
At 11:30, it's sunny and 67 degrees downtown at the Arch. This just in from Bloomberg. Elon Musk is expected to propose that the Twitter deal proceed at the original $54.20 per share price. He had been trying to back out of the contract for months. Trading of Twitter shares has been halted on the news. KMOX Sports, Albert Pujols continues a magical season in the twilight of his career.
He made it to 700 home runs in what's billed as his last season, and with number 703 last night on Bally Sports in Pittsburgh, 42-year-old Albert Pujols went further.
Albert hits it down the left field line. Number 703. RBIs, number 2,215 and 16. He's passed Babe Ruth. Second all-time in history in runs batted in.
Hank Aaron is the all-time leader with 2,297. If Pujols retires as planned, that record will be safe. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
Weather is sponsored by Metro Transit. This afternoon, high 76 degrees. Clear overnight, the low 49. Tomorrow, some sun and a high of 82. Metro Transit is now hiring operators, mechanics, and more interested in a rewarding career with great salary and benefits, plus a $2,000 signing bonus. Catch Metro Transit's job fair this Saturday, October 8th at the main garage, 3300 Spruce Street from 10 to 2 p.m. They'll see you then. It's sunny and 67 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Hi, Kent Newbold for Newbold Toyota. Your car is worth more than ever before, so why trust the amateurs for your servicing? Come see the factory-trained experts at Newbold Toyota in O'Fallon, Illinois, or newboldtoyota.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
Well, Ophthalmology Associates, I was just there not too long ago. I actually saw Dr. Birdie. I needed more contacts. He checked on my eyes. And again, I was really dealing with dry eye, kind of that itchy redness. And he was able to help me out with that. I actually started taking fish oil because my eyes were dry, and it potentially perhaps I can get LASIK down the road. And if I do, taking that fish oil, making sure that the glands around my eyes are healthy is a key part of that. And that's what I like about going to the Ophthalmology Associates is they really take in your whole lifestyle. They take in all of your health and your eyes. Your eyes can be indicators of your health. Sometimes, yep, sure, the dry, scratchy eyes are just dry eye, but sometimes it can be something more serious. Or maybe you find yourself staring at screens a lot. Well, we're not blinking as much. We get that itchy scratchiness. The doctors at Ophthalmology Associates can help you out and make sure that your eyes are comfortable and healthy and you're able to see. It's a big part of your quality of life. 314-966-5000. 314-966-5000. You know them as the doctors, Dr. Birdie, Malhotra, Brusati, and Royer, or youridoc.com.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
For garage door repair, St. Louis calls the real Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. They're the ones with the red ribbon. They're the ones who've been here since 1926. Others try to copy the name, but they cannot match the level of service. The red ribbon means 94 years of trust and loyalty from St. Louis homeowners. Always look for the red ribbon. It means you've got the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Call 314-781-5200.
KMOX is Cardinals Radio.
It's the Cards and Pirates tonight. Ameren pregame show 440. First pitch 5:35. Hear the game on KMOX and streaming on KMOX.com.
It's 11:34 on the show. Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores, Kevin Wheeler with you here. And while we've been celebrating the Hall of Fame careers, soon-to-be Hall of Fame careers of Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina for the entire season, but especially here these last few weeks with milestones being broken and playoffs being locked in. We also found out this weekend that another Hall of Famer is going to be calling it a career at the end of the season, and that is Rick Hummel of the Post-Dispatch, the J.G. Taylor Spink Award winner for the Baseball Hall of Fame. That was back, I believe, in 2007, and we've got the commish with us here on KMOX. Commish, thank you for joining us. How are you today? And congratulations, man.
Well, thank you, man, and thanks for you guys calling me here. It's been I didn't know this would engender as much furor as it has.
You didn't expect the ovation?
I did not.
How surreal was that? I mean, you've seen it all. I mean, literally seen it all in your time covering the team. You've seen the generations of players come and go, styles of play change, championship teams, not so great teams. Just how did that moment strike you? It was unexpected, I know, but it had to feel pretty good too.
It did. I wish I could have been able to take everything in and just kind of survey the whole scene, but I was like a deer in the headlights there for a little bit.
So I can imagine not expecting something like that to happen, that it did happen. How were you feeling after the fact?
Well, I didn't know that many people cared that much about what I'd done, whether it was 51 years or how many years, the St. Louis fan base never ceases to amaze me how much they revere their players and apparently some of the other people too.
Do you remember the feeling you had on your first Cardinals assignment back in 1973?
I do, because I didn't know until late in the afternoon that I was going to be over there. Neil Russo, our writer at that time, had a family issue, so they called me about, 4:00. And I was living in Belleville then. And I dashed over there, and I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know about the double doors at the ballpark, so I went in there, and I got into the ballpark, and I walked through the seats. I didn't know about the clubhouse or anything like that. And the Montreal Expos were on the field warming up for the game. Must have been about 5:30 or so, or maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock. They're ready to take batting practice. And I hopped onto the field over the box seat railing as my entrance to the situation. And I saw Jim Dwyer there. I knew had been with the Cardinals before. I was about ready to talk to him. And I saw manager Gene Mock standing there, and he's got to be thinking, what is this Yahoo doing here? Who is this guy?
Did somebody tell you, hey, you don't have to go do all that? There's a separate entrance for you. Did somebody finally let you know?
Yeah, they did. But manager Mock had, he was kind of a crusty fellow anyway. I didn't dare talk to him at that point.
So, Rick, generally speaking, describe what the game was like to cover in the early, mid-'70s, maybe even late '70s. And obviously it's changed a great deal since then. But what was it like to cover a team in that time?
Well, there weren't 47,000 people there, that's for sure. You'd have, a nice crowd would be 20 or 25,000. Their teams in the '70s were pretty good clubs, but they didn't, they hadn't won since 1968 as far as winning a championship, winning a pennant. And they were second or third place teams. They could hit. They had some pitching. But in those days, the Pirates were a real good club.
Mm-hmm.
The Phillies were becoming of age. The Dodgers were a real good club. The Reds were a real good club. And those were the three teams probably. And the Cardinals were a contender, but not really. You know, they had a chance to win a couple divisions and fell a little bit short in the 70s. And you just didn't see the outpouring as we've seen ever since since Whitey Ball took over in the 80s when they've been drawing 3 million. They were scratching to get 2 million in the days of the 70s, and some years they didn't make it. They were entertaining, but there was, we had pro football too. We had hockey. We had a pretty full plate of pro sports teams here. We even had the ABA for a while, which I covered the Spirits. I guess that was a pro sports team. And so Mizzou football was big then. And, you just didn't have the coverage either from TV, and their Cam Weiss was always there, of course, but TV didn't pay as much attention to as it does now. We didn't have talk radio, and we didn't have social media, so they just played ball, and you wrote about it, and you didn't have to write three or four stories a day. One would suffice sometimes two. It was a different pace for sure.
And you've covered 35 World Series, 42 All-Star games. I know there are so many moments in your career, and when you're covering the game, when you're working, you're not absorbing it the same way a fan would. It's much more methodical, but are there moments that stand out to you in your career where you just maybe were taken aback or you did absorb it like a fan would?
Well, of course, the best moment, I guess, probably early on was covering the 82 World Championship team that the Cardinals had. I think I was most taken aback. Probably it was a late Saturday night game, 1986, and the Boston Red Sox were about to end the curse. They hadn't won a World Series since 1918, which was that'd be 68 years, I guess. And they had the Mets down 2 runs in the bottom of the 10th inning, and it's about midnight, 12:30. You're writing your story, and then suddenly the ball goes through Buckner's legs, and the Red Sox have not won the World Series.
That poor guy.
That took a little rewriting and much teeth gnashing, and if it was old time newspapering, it'd be one of those deals where you'd yank the paper out of the typewriter and crumple it up and throw it away and jam a new sheet in there.
Thankfully, don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, that's the worst. Like, I know the writers with the game stories are like, I'm almost done with this one. It's the 8th inning, and the next thing you know, you have to start from scratch. Rick, in your several decades of covering baseball, who has been, or is there one person or maybe a couple of people whose interactions you enjoyed the most?
Well, it has to be Whitey Herzog. He taught me so much about not just baseball, but how to get along with people, how to ask the right questions, what to look forward to in a game. And there weren't as many people around, again, media-wise, to talk to him every time. So he would give me all the time I would need. And I could go in the next day and talk to him at 3 o'clock before the rest of the people would get there, and we'd discuss strategy from the night before. And he always, you could play along with him pretty well. And then one night he did something I could not figure it out for the life of me. And I went back the next morning. I can hardly wait to get there. And I said, "Why did you do such and such last night?" And he looks at me. He says, "Sometimes you just got to roll the dice." I said, "Well, that's great. Thanks a lot for that explanation."
That's awesome. When you were a little boy, did you dream of becoming a writer? Did you dream of being in baseball?
The second part, yes. The first part, no. I wanted to be a broadcaster. And I grew up in Quincy, Illinois, and I did some spotting work for Elvin and Melvin Tappy, who were local high school heroes. They both played professional ball in the Chicago Cubs organization. They were twins. One was the pitcher, Melvin, and one was the catcher, Elvin. Elvin was actually managed the Cubs for a while when they had that rotating college of coaches in the 60s when I was in high school. And Melvin was my driver's training instructor at that point. And he said, I think all the broadcasting jobs in baseball are going to go to ex-players. This is 60 years ago he said this, and he was right, for the most part. And he said, if you want to stay in the game, he'd heard I wasn't a very good player already. He knew that. So that avenue was not open to me. And he said, why don't you be a writer? So I kind of filed that away, and I went to college, Quincy College then, and for a couple of years. In the first year, I did some writing and some broadcasting for the local station there at the university, at the college rather, and the weekly paper. I had one issue. I didn't know how to type.
Oh,
so
no.
I would write these things out longhand. And my mother, who was a professional typist on the side, she had a couple different jobs, but that was one of them, would type them up, and I'd take them over to the newspaper office, and that was that. Well, the second year I was there, I'm thinking, if this is going to be a career of mine, I am not sure Mom's going to be able to make all these games down the line here somewhere. I'm going to have to learn how to type.
Yeah, I know times were different. Probably not that different, right?
So I took a typing class the second year, then here I am.
Wow.
All right, so just spinning it forward to this year, Rick. I mean, obviously, there's just been so much going on, and it's great that you're getting to celebrate your 50th year and go out on your terms. And obviously, we know you'll still be around and all of that, but you don't have to do this on the full-time basis. And it's all happening at the same time as this amazing Albert run, the story of Yadi and Waino, and the number of starts that they've put together as a tandem. This season has almost been a storybook way to kind of go through, right?
Yeah, and you hope that at least they advance into at least the one round, of the playoffs, where you don't want to see them go out in the first two games here against Philadelphia or San Diego. That puts a little bit of a damper on it. And if they get to next week, then at that point, they theoretically are playing teams that have been better than them all year long. So if they lose it, they weren't supposed to win anyway. If they play the Braves or Mets next week, those teams have been better than the Cardinals pretty much all year long. The Cardinals had a real good team, real good season, but those teams are 100-game winners or almost. And you got the Dodgers at the end of the line, and either Houston or the Yankees. I don't think the Cardinals could say they were as good as any of those teams for most of the season, but they could be for 3 weeks.
So I'd like to get your expert opinion on this now for somebody who's covered this team for a long time and looking at their playoff prospects. As you mentioned, some of the other teams in the National League have been better than them this season. What is, as you look at the Cardinals now, what are the things that maybe concern you about going in, or the things that you feel like make you confident as they approach the playoffs Friday?
I think the biggest concern is that they're starting pitching, while deep, they have a number of guys. They have 5 or 6 guys who can do this. They don't seem to have the 1 or 2 guys that match up with a lot of other 1s and 2s on the other teams. So that would be a little bit to their detriment. However, in the last 10 to 15 years, the playoff game has changed to where the bullpens decide the games. You may have a starter out in the bullpen, and then you might use 4 or 5 or 6 relievers. Well, the Cardinals have the edge there. They've got the deepest bullpen of anybody out there that I can determine, at least in this league. So that's a way they could win this, plus the fact that they don't give away runs with their defense, at least in the infield. Now, the outfield is not quite the same as it was before when you had, Bader and O'Neill as Gold Glove winners playing every day, and Carlson was a good fielder too. You've got some guys out there once in a while that just aren't as good as those people. And the outfield defense isn't nearly as good, but the infield defense and catching is wonderful. So they don't give away too many runs, and they have star power. You got to have big time players come through for you. And now they have 3. I thought they had 2 with Goldschmidt and Arenado, but you got to add number 5 to that list too. I mean, he's doing it. He's got more home runs than anybody since the All-Star break. That's enough for me.
It's been a phenomenal run, and obviously we'll start finding out about all the answers to those questions coming up with the start of the wild card round on Friday. Rick, thank you so much for doing this. Congratulations on a great career. I mean, I know that I'm sure many times when we were sharing the press box, I'm up there annoying everybody in the writer's row because I'm super loud and I tend to go down there and bother you guys. I appreciate you guys putting up with me, but thank you so much for everything, man. It's been fun getting to know you over the years. And I mean, it's hard to put into words that, the respect that you have for someone that's done it as well as you have for a long time. So really appreciate and respect the work you've done. I'm looking forward to seeing you again here soon.
Well, you're very kind. Thank you. And I hope to be on there quite often in the future years, but maybe not 24 hours a day every day.
Yeah, we'll see you up there. And we'll love to keep you as a part of our family here on the show as well. Thanks so much, Rick. We'll see you soon.
I would like that. Thank you.
You got it. That's Rick Hummel from the Post-Dispatch. The commish for a reason, right? The nickname, the commish for a reason. And by the way, one thing you can talk to Rick about all day, every day, we didn't mention college basketball. He knows as much about college basketball as any person I've ever known. A lot of times in spring training, our after work things would be going where commish is sitting and watching college basketball so we can all sit there and eat with him and watch the games and learn. Like, he knows everyone.
Got to get him back in March.
Yep.
It wouldn't be too difficult to do the math, or at least an approximation, but how many games has the commish covered?
I think it's literally 1 million.
1,407,000. Something like that.
The first year or two might not have been every game, right? But we're talking about 50 years, probably an average of 140, something 50 games a year.
And how about all those World Series? He covered 42 All-Star games.
Great stuff, man. And obviously on top of it, one of the nicest people you'll ever run into. All right, stick around. We're going to talk a bit more about, maybe students having too much influence. And of course, we got a few other stories we want to get to as we go through the day. It's Chris Ranji, Amy Marks Kors, and Kevin Wheeler with you on the show.
Well, the weather has been absolutely gorgeous this week. This is backyard weather. This is when you want to sit outside on your deck. You want to barbecue. You want to listen to playoff baseball right here on KMOX. You want to have friends over. You want to have the kids, right? All the high schoolers are hanging out. You want to be the house where they're all going to hang out at. And the backyard goes a long way in doing that. And STL Fence Works can help you out and make your backyard leisure space better than it's ever been. They can build a deck that is sturdier than your house. Not many decks can say that, and it will add value to your home, or perhaps add that privacy fence. Here's the big thing with STL Fence Works. Well, there's a few of them. One, they're the #1 fence and deck contractor in the state of Missouri. Two, they've been able to leverage that position to make sure they have all the materials and supplies on hand for your project, be it a deck or a fence, so there's no long lead-in time. And three, they have a lifetime warranty that reinforces their commitment to quality and that surpasses anything else offered in the industry. Go to stlfenceworks.com. Be inspired for your next project. stlfenceworks.com.
For the best service after the sale, go to the experts who know your car best, Bomarito. We sell and service every make and model at our state-of-the-art facility, so we have the best factory-certified technician. We'll get you scheduled, repaired, and back on the road fast. Set your appointment on the Bomarito app or at Bomarito.com, and remember, a free wash is on me when you visit. A better experience, a better price. Go with the automotive leader, Bomarito, Missouri's #1 automotive group. Open 24/7 at Bomarito.com.
This month's Zero Rent special. The more you clean, the more you save. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129 or 5 rooms starting at $199. A 43% savings. Take $75 off any air duct cleaning package. Call 314-474-2020 or go to ZeroRensSTL.com.
Our national debt is now over $30 trillion, an increase of over 20% in just the past 2 years. I'm sure you've been told at some point that taxes will be lower when you retire, but do you truly believe that? Now is the time to begin planning for the future of tax increases. Is your financial advisor helping you with tax planning for a tax-efficient future? If not, this is the time to call me, Ken Heisey, at Heisey Advisory Group, 314-328-4400. If you're like most people, you have a portfolio of investments, but a portfolio is not a plan. How have you planned for the potential legislative risk of increased taxes? Call Heisey Advisory Group now and let us help you create a plan to reduce the tax risk in your retirement. Call 314-328-4400, 314-328-4400.
Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through A Wealth Management, LLC.
CertaPro painters have powers beyond those of ordinary painters.
The power of precision.
That's the power of a skilled local team who know what they're doing.
The power of accurate estimates.
Estimates, not guesstimates.
The power of certainty.
CertaPro painters. That's the power of pro. Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated.
Stress and anxiety reactions following disasters can be challenging. If you were impacted by the recent floods, show me hope, because help is available. Find resources and local providers at moshowmehope.org. Brought to you by the Missouri Department of Mental Health.
The Center for Hearing and Speech empowers communication. To see how they can help you, call 314-968-4710 or go to chsstl.org.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444. Chris Ranji.
Wonderful bones, great eyes, and you dress really interesting.
On the show.
Talking to Rick Hummel there made me think about the first sporting event, first game I ever covered as a professional. I covered like college games in school. It was the school that I was going to. So, I covered college football at Miami, a little basketball. I did, as an intern, I covered Miami Heat practice when I was an intern for the ABC station down there, and trying to interview 7'2" guys is really hard when you're 5'8", especially. But it was an interesting experience. But I remember the first time as a professional that I covered an actual professional sporting event was when I was doing national radio. I was a new producer. They needed somebody to go get some sound bites at a Cubs game. So I went down to the Cubs game and standing behind. I know nothing. I'm just like following people down on the field pregame, during batting practice, sitting behind the cage. And I'm just watching the two sides go through it, and Harry Carey's right next to me, like holding court. He's telling stories, and he's got everybody. He also, by the way, as soon as a couple players heard his voice, they did the eye roll thing and started walking the other direction really quickly. They're like, "Oh no, I'm going this way." But
I've seen that before.
Yeah, it's usually for one of us. The best part though was standing there just watching guys hitting, and Billy Williams, the Hall of Famer, standing next to me, and he just goes, "What's up, Brad? How you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm doing pretty good," because I'm watching batting practice next to a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And he started laughing, and he sat there and talked to me for a good 5 minutes just for fun. I interviewed Steve Stone, and that was the first
my
thing.
guy.
It was a fascinating thing as a newbie guy just out of college. Being in that environment is really cool.
I remember the first interview I did because I would hang out at the Blues practices, and I was homeschooled, so this was my writing class. I could be there at 10:30 in the morning. I was 12 years old, and I interviewed Tony Twist. And then I went home and wrote on my little Word document.
You weren't a professional at 12, though.
I was not a professional
That's
at 12.
amazing, though. I couldn't even imagine.
I can
doing
tell
that
you
at
my
12.
first three: Tony Twist, then Jeff Courtnall, and then Jimmy Roberts were my first three.
It's a good three.
That I interviewed.
I don't remember.
As a 12-year-old.
As a 12-year-old. As a professional, I don't remember, but I remember I think I was still in college. It was before I did my internship at KMOX. I was still in college, campus TV station, got a press pass for Cardinals Cubs. I came down to Busch Stadium because I was at ISU, so I drove the couple hours down. And the first person I ever interviewed, I got the stupid big old camera on my shoulder and the microphone sticking out, talking to Andy Bennis on the field.
Nice.
I felt like a dumb idiot because I'm like, sorry, I don't have a camera guy, just me. He was really nice. He was the first interview I ever did.
Oh, Andy is a really great guy, and that is a hell of a story. All right, coming up, I mentioned the whole thing about, pleasing students at the college level may be more important than, accurate grading. We'll talk about the story next up here on the show.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
I was in foot pain for 20 years, trying to give it relief, buying all these different insoles. I spent thousands of dollars. I bought all these products and not a single one worked. I really, truly needed to have relief in my feet. And the Good Feet arch supports were what gave me the relief I needed. I can wear these arch supports in all my shoes: cowboy boots, running shoes, walking shoes, flat shoes, heels. Makes me so happy. If you ask my husband, he will crack up because there is no store I would rather go in than a shoe store.
Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive, Catty Corner from TGI Fridays, or in Shiloh, Illinois, across from Dearborn.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. Come in and try the Good Feet feeling today. Comfort, energy, performance, and pain relief at the Good Feet store.
Tom Ackerman here for Building Community with Busey Bank, a podcast series easily accessible at KMOX.com/community banking. This month, the United Way celebrates 100 years of helping those in our region. And of course, Busey Bank continues its long-standing involvement. Our October podcast focuses on what the United Way means to our community and the many ways you can get involved. Listen to our October podcast, Building Community with Busey Bank, at KMOX.com/community banking.
Spark Co-working St. Louis is a new collaborative workspace located within the PwC Pennant Building in Ballpark Village. The Spark Co-working community supports the thriving St. Louis entrepreneurial ecosystem, where you can live, work, and watch the Cardinals play all within one district. The all-inclusive workspace includes furnished month-to-month offices and suites with stadiums, city, and arch views, concierge mail service, nitro cold brew coffee on tap, and so much more. Call 314-278-5297 or visit spark-stl.com.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 12:01, it's sunny and 69 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Elon Musk appears to change his mind again about Twitter.
It looks like the Twitter deal is back on. Shares of Twitter soaring, at least until trading was halted after word that following months of hemming and hawing, Tesla CEO Elon Musk now proposing to buy the service for his original offer of $44 billion made back in April. Twitter's market cap right now, about $35 billion. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
The Drug Enforcement Agency in New York City is sounding the alarm about fentanyl marketed to look like candy ahead of Halloween. A recent seizure was found to be hidden in Lego boxes.
DEA Special Agent Frank Tarantino announces a fentanyl bust of 15,000 pills with a street value of $300,000 hidden in Lego boxes.
This is every parent's worst nightmare.
It's called rainbow fentanyl, and he says it's coming from Mexico and China.
This newly packaged poison is the cartel's attempt to attract new customers and increase their profit margins.
He says nationwide over the last 3 months, the DEA seized 10 million pills. Matt Piper, CBS News, New York.
Airlines would be required to give flight attendants at least 10 hours off duty between shifts. That's one more hour than currently. Acting FAA Administrator Billy Nolan says the extra hour of rest would contribute to safety.
They need just as much rest because flight attendants are the foundation of aviation safety's culture, starting with cabin safety.
The Association of Flight Attendants has fought for years to get the rest requirement expanded. The union says the law will make aviation safer for the more than 100,000 flight attendants. A country music Hall of Famer and legend, the coal miner's daughter, Loretta Lynn, has died at the age of 90.
When I was born to coal miner's daughter.
Loretta Lynn gave voice to America's working class women, telling stories of economic struggles.
We were poor, but we had love.
Singing ballads about rocky marriages.
There's trouble in paradise.
Even recording songs about getting pregnant too often.
One's on the way.
Someone else Lynn gave voice to, the next generation of women artists in Nashville. According to Reba McEntire,
she paved the way for me and the other ladies who have come along in country music.
Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
The First Mid-Bank and Trust Business Desk, the number of job openings in the U.S. sunk in August compared with July, a sign that businesses may pull back further on hiring and potentially cool chronically high inflation.
The government says there were 10.1 million advertised jobs on the last day of August, down a huge 10% from openings in July. Layoffs ticked up in August, but remained at historically low levels. That's according to the Job Openings and Labor Turnover Survey. The sharp drop in job openings will be welcomed by the Federal Reserve, which is hoping to reduce the demand for workers by raising its key short-term interest rate. On Friday, we get the unemployment rate, which is forecast to remain unchanged at 3.7%. I'm Julie Walker.
The Dow from Stifels up 708 points to 30,199. And we've got a stall 44 west past Vandeventer in the left shoulder, 170 north past St. Charles Rock Road on the left shoulder, 55 north before Bayless on the right shoulder.
Pleasant for this afternoon. Grab those sunglasses. We'll see plenty of sunshine with a high of 76. Tonight, mainly clear, low 49. Couple more clouds for tomorrow, but still nice and warm for the afternoon with a high of 82. For AccuWeather, a meteorologist Matt Benz on the Voice of St. Louis. KMOX.
Sponsored by the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. They believe that life insurance is the central part of a sound financial plan and that it can make an enduring impact for generations to come. Talk to your independent advisor. Go to PennMutual.com/STL. Penn Mutual, trusted for life. It's a sunny sky, 70 in Florissant, 71 in St. Peter's, 69 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than four? 314-441-4444.
$12:05 coming up on 12:06 on the show. Chris Ranji, Amy Marks Scores, Kevin Wheeler with you here. We have our poll up at the show KMOX. We were talking earlier about an insane person saying it's not okay to high five kids because then they won't respect you.
You can only high five your peers.
But also, doctors can't high five patients.
Right.
The president shouldn't high five anyone not old enough to be president.
What?
I don't know.
I mean, it is really like some of the biggest nonsense I've ever seen. Like,
I'm still not 100%
If a
convinced.
child doesn't respect you because you high five them, you're literally doing everything else wrong. You're literally doing everything else wrong.
Are we 100% convinced it's not parody?
I think it's not. It has to be. It was picked up by several newspapers.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't sound like parody because he qualifies it with, I know this is going to sound like, he didn't say exactly, I think this is going to sound dumb, but there's a, I know how this sounds element to the piece. And then he goes on with his explanation.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
So
it's just really, really stupid.
Our poll is up at the show KMOX, and the question was, all right, is it okay to high five kids? Yes, why not? No, they're beneath you, and I don't know any children.
That's what I voted. I don't know any children.
It's a valid part of it. 10% of people said, I don't know any children. 6.5% say no, they're beneath you. 83.5% so far say, yeah, why not? And that's out of 217 votes so far. You can vote at the show KMOX.
So that was on Twitter, yeah. And somebody responded and said, well, when you see a kid, it's either one of a couple of things. They're going to hug you or they're going to high five you, right? If you don't know them very well, you don't want to be hugged by them. So a high five is perfect.
Plus,
like, here, I'm acknowledging you, kid.
Yeah.
Here's your high five.
Another texter made a really good point that basically the fist bump has replaced the high five.
Yeah.
So is that okay or not okay?
But also, this dude said, give me five.
Yeah. I'll just read my favorite paragraph again. Quote, The high five is a gesture of familiarity to be exchanged between equals. I have traded the palm slap with adult friends. Dude, give me 5.
Dude, give me 5.
I can be and am as cool as the next adult, that is. I will not slap the upraised palm of a person who is not my peer. And a peer is someone over age 21, emancipated, employed, and paying their own way.
What a nerd, this guy. And he, by the way, I don't know why I'm including this, but the writer of this, John Rosemond, he went to Western Illinois University. So I think that is probably the best advertisement for going to Illinois State instead.
Who says I have traded the palm
Who says-
slap with
who-
adult friends?
Who says, dude, give me 5? Nobody says that.
Nobody in real life.
I do think anyone who says I can be and am as cool as the next adult, that is not cool.
No, you're not.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. No. That's the guy you want to give the smack right between the shoulder blades.
Sure, as long as the next adult is George McFly.
I am certain this guy at one point in his life said, yeah, I got a girlfriend. You don't know her. She goes to a different school.
She lives in Canada.
I'm sure he did this. Positive. I'm speculating.
So from that observation on the dynamic between authority and, well, let's say children, we got a different story. That actually, I mean, this one's much more important and serious.
Yes.
The other one's silly, but there's a story about a professor at NYU who was reportedly let go because the allegation is because he was too tough on his students and his students complained.
Yeah, they said the class was too hard. It was not encouraging them.
Now what class was it, Amy?
It was organic chemistry.
So it's probably supposed to be hard, right?
Yes. And this professor is known for, according to the New York Times, changing the way the subject is taught in addition to writing the 1,300-page textbook Organic Chemistry. Now in its 5th edition, he pioneered a new method of instruction that relied less on rote memorization and more on problem solving. Now, this story, again, on the New York Times, the author is Stephanie Saul. Charlie Brennan texted me this morning about it. And we had talked about this already this morning. And I had seen it yesterday. And Charlie texted me from New York and said, hey, I think you might want to check out A1 of the New York Times. And so some of these students put together a petition to the faculty at NYU, and they levied several accusations saying that the professor wasn't helpful enough with the Zoom classes, like after COVID, a couple of years down the line. He did spend $5,000 and hours of his own time putting all of his lectures, either recording them or putting them on Zoom, and currently they're not on Zoom, and basically saying the class was too tough. One of the accusations was, quote, he had a condescending and demanding tone. Now, a PhD student at Harvard, another person said, I think this petition, the petition by the students, was written more out of unhappiness with exam scores than an actual feeling of being treated unfairly. I have noticed that many of the students who consistently complained about the class did not use the resources we afforded them. Another doctor said that he worried about any effort to reduce the course's demands, noting that most students in organic chemistry want to become doctors. Unless you appreciate these transformations at the molecular level, he said, I don't think you can be a good physician, and I don't want you treating patients. But NYU listened to the complaints of the students, and they fired this 84-year-old professor who pioneered organic chemistry. The students who levied the accusations of him being demanding and condescending, they were surprised that he got fired and said, oh, wow, we didn't ask for that. We didn't expect them to get fired.
Couple things here.
Yeah, I got a couple things too.
One, there's no chance that this is the first group of people that ever complained about this guy. I would imagine that this has been a series of things. But I will say...
Well, it was notorious for being a hard class. As far as a specific petition, it's a pretty in-depth article from Stephanie Stahl. She does not mention any previous petitions. She does say the class was notoriously difficult.
What I'm saying, though, is like they've gotten complaints before. They didn't just get one set of complaints and said, well, you're gone. I wouldn't think.
Well,
but
we don't know.
I will say
this. That was
this.
not reported in the New York Times.
I will say this. It is an indicator in part about what college is now. What college is now is a business. And this is called the customer is always right. That is exactly what's happening here because these people and their parents are paying to be there. And what they're doing is saying, we need to keep our customers happy. This is how colleges are run. They are run like businesses. There's a reason why they're doing these things. They're not doing this because they feel sorry for these kids. They're not doing it because they think the professor is necessarily wrong. They're trying to keep the customer happy so they don't take their business somewhere else.
Well, a chemistry professor who worked closely with the fired NYU professor, Dr. Jones, this chemistry professor said that, quote, the deans are obviously going for some bottom line and they want happy students who are saying great things about the university so more people apply and the U.S. News rankings keep going higher.
Yeah.
Because the deans also tried to placate the students by offering them, A, a chance for the deans to review the grades, and B, offering the students a chance to retroactively withdraw from the class so it didn't count on their records. I mean, they gave them so many options.
There could be some of what you're talking about as truth. I mean, that may be that the university is looking at, hey, we don't want to make our customers mad because college is a business. I have my own objections to the way universities are run, generally speaking, in this country. I think it's way too expensive. It continues to be way too expensive. And we're putting people in crippling debt when it's over for not enough benefit in a lot of cases. However, there does appear to be some pushback on the idea that this is all Gen Z students that can't handle it. First of all, from the university, their spokesperson, and I don't know, maybe he's wrong, but he says that Dr. Jones
That is his name.
is the person in question, has, quote, his course evaluations, quote, were by far the worst, not only among members of the chemistry department, but among all the university's undergraduate science courses. I don't know if that's true or not, but it sounds kind of bad. There was also a professor from the NYU biology department who says, I have some of the same exact students that this guy has. And let me read to you what some of his, and he went on a tweet thread earlier today. His name is Carlos Carmona Fontaine. And he said that we literally share the same students. While many are stressed and some are better than others, I have a large number of brilliant, responsible, and caring students. So could it be that the students are solely to blame? The article says this was a cool professor, whatever that means. The fact is that after retiring from a tenured position at Princeton, he took a yearly teaching job at NYU after retirement age. Retirement age are there to open jobs sorely needed by new would-be professors. The fact that he got this position and he got the Times to write a hit piece for him tells me more than he is cool. He is just well connected. Oh, and another, that super textbook, the nice article keeps mentioning, he required his students to buy it. So this isn't the story of a great academic fired due to complaints of needy students. It's the story of a professor who didn't want to change his old teaching methods, whose yearly contract was not renewed, in part because his duty to engage and teach students wasn't fulfilled. So maybe he's a bad teacher. Maybe he used to be a good teacher, but maybe now he sucks. Because there does become a time for a lot of people that the job they used to do really well, they don't do it the same way and they can't relate to younger people. I'm sure org chemistry is supposed to be very difficult, but my guess is this is a little bit more than these lazy kids don't want to try very hard and they don't like being criticized.
Who was that professor that you just quoted?
Carlos Carmona Fontaine. And there was also, by the way, another professor who, Duncan Smith, who is also in, he's a biologist at NYU, and he seconded everything that he said.
And again, I mean, Stephanie Saul has multiple professors as well, several actually that she quotes in this article defending Dr. Jones. So again, we don't know exactly what's happening.
So it sounds, what I don't want to do here is it sounds like it's more complicated than look at these Gen Z entitled people. And that's what this article tries to make it sound like. Like maybe it's more than that. Maybe this guy isn't any good anymore.
Well, it says to ease pandemic stress, he and two other professors taped 52 organic chemistry lectures, and those lectures are still being used by the university.
Okay.
He personally paid $5,000 to help produce the videos. In 2020, Again, 30 students out of 475 filed a petition asking for more help. And they said they didn't have good internet coverage at home, all sorts of things. So the professors were able to address the students' concerns in an online town hall meeting. And another chemistry professor at NYU said he discovered cheating during online tests.
Which I'm sure has never happened before this Gen Z.
Well, no, but again, there was far more online test taking with COVID. Far more
Yeah, of
online
course.
test taking. So again, I think the teachers were dealing with obstacles. The students, of course, were dealing with obstacles. And I've said this morning in a lot of stories. The truth just isn't sexy enough. And generally, when someone's really, really good, you can assume they're not actually that good. And when someone says someone's really, really bad, you can assume that person's not actually that bad. I think the truth generally tends to be more moderate, more down the middle, and less sexy than a good versus evil scenario. But my guess is, as you said, it's a bit more complicated. I'm sure he had an extremely demanding and tough course, and maybe he was kind of condescending. I would be surprised if people had a teacher who wasn't, at least one teacher who wasn't a little bit irritating.
Well, the difference now is, students have an easier time connecting with one another, and maybe they can be like, "Hey, man, this guy," then finally they were able to do something about it. I don't know. I don't go to NYU. I've never heard of this person before. Maybe he just isn't good. Maybe, and if the university is not lying, and the fact his course evaluations were the worst in the entire science area, that's not good either. So maybe he deserved to not have his contract renewed.
The worst thing about these stories is that immediately people assume things that they don't know. Immediately.
Well, I hate the Gen Z. I hate when we do this. Oh, the
But
young
she
kids
to be
today.
clear,
Because
she
we've
never
been,
said that.
No, but I
None
feel
of
like
that
it's
is ever said.
No, but it's
that's framed, and
absolutely
that's the way it's
implied
taken.
in the way it's
Yes,
done, because you hear these stories over and over again. Kids these days can't take criticism,
And we've
and
been
their
doing this
parents
for
do something.
decades, man.
Decades.
She does note that she talked to several other students from his class who seemed shell-shocked from the experience and said he was keen
Yeah, I mean,
to help.
I think that happens a lot. I had teachers I liked that other people didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think we're probably making more of the situation than it actually is. And I don't want to turn it into kids are all these days, they don't know how to handle any tough love. That's nonsense.
The impacts of this storm are historic.
Text Red Cross to 90999 to give $10 to the American Red Cross Disaster Relief, which helps people affected by disasters such as Hurricane Ian. Message and data rates may apply, or go to KMOX.com for additional ways you can help.
I can't tell you how happy I am that I actually had to take the time to go see these great doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Of course, the doctors, because they treat more doctors than any other practice in town. I'm talking about Dr. Greg Birdie, Dr. Robert Rusati, Dr. Andy Royer, and of course, Dr. Ranjan Malhotra, who I saw. And we solved a relatively simple problem. And really, it was one that I knew existed, but I didn't know it was a problem. I just thought, oh, allergies are bugging me, or I'm tired and my eyes feel. Well, it turns out that the discomfort I had in my eyes was because I have tears that are too salty, and it leads to some irritation, and you rub your eyes, and that makes it all worse. And I found out through the simple exam, hey, listen, here's what we can do. Here are some eye drops that'll work for you. Boom, problem is cleared up. But more importantly than that, I also learned that my eyes are healthy. There's no sign of anything coming down the road that I'm going to need to be worried about or get ahead of. And that knowledge is really important because I never really had eye exams. I've never worn glasses or contacts. I don't, even at 50 years old, don't even really use the readers that I have. And I know I will at some point, but that's just why I've never been involved in this. And I had no idea what to expect going in. And it couldn't have been any easier. I see new things like this, generally speaking, as a big hassle. And it was anything but. It was so easy. Give them a call, 314-966-5000. You can visit yourEyeDoc.com, no matter what we're talking about. If it's like me, something simple like dry eyes or allergy eyes or something along those lines. Or if you're thinking about LASIK, these are the guys you want to go to. The doctors of Ophthalmology Associates are experts in the diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye. So again, you can call them, 314-966-5000, and you can visit yourEyeDoc.com.
What's more important than profit? At Easter Fence Deck and Renovations, our family name is, you, our customers and friends are. A job well done and doing what's right is more important than profit. Hi, I'm Chuck Easter. In business for over 60 years, we've not lost sight of the fact that a good name is more desirable than great riches. When the Easter name is on your fence, deck, or sunroom, you know it was done right with integrity, pride, and great care. Our focus is on you, not our bottom line. Call 314-892-8500 or easterfence.com.
Are you tired of exposing your retirement to stock market risk? How would you like the potential to participate in credited interest from market index returns and limit the downside? Join me, Ben Coons, for the Retirement and Income Radio Show, heard here every Saturday at 3 p.m. on KMOX Radio. You can also call me now for your complimentary retirement and income book at 844-513-SAFE. That's 844-513-7233.
We are all on this planet together, so join Odyssey and find your one thing. Now that it's autumn, check window and door seals for proper insulation and replace your furnace air filter. Join Odyssey, and together, each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. What's your one thing?
Yes, with inflation, interest rate increases, and a possible recession looming, we are no doubt facing uncertain times in the housing market. But as a realtor with over 20 years of experience, I can tell you, if you're thinking of selling your home, now more than ever, you need a realtor to help you through these times while saving you money. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty, and we offer all of this for only 4%. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Hi, this is Steve Butts at the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. This year marks our 60th anniversary serving our clients and friends, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Norbert Butts. As your local independent insurance agency, we've been proud to represent many fine carriers such as Safeco, Travelers, and Progressive. So please give us a call for all your insurance needs. 314-752-2500 or crawfordbutts.com.
My name is Dr. Brooke Bello. I'm not a political figure. I'm a survivor. When I was a kid, I was trafficked, drugged, and raped. The traffickers forced me to have multiple abortions. Had my mother been notified, she could have intervened, called the police, and saved me from years of exploitation. Last year, I told my story to General Assembly and Governor Pritzker, pleading with them to preserve the right of Illinois' loving parents to know if their daughters are about to undergo an abortion. Governor Pritzker ignored my cry. He took away the very thing that could have saved me and is needed to protect those being exploited today. Parental rights that protect our kids should never be in doubt. This is personal to me, and I hope it's important to you when you vote this November.
Paid for by people who play by the rules pack.
Local news and information direct to your smart speaker. Just say, play KMOX.
All right, got our Redbird report coming up after the news at 12:30. And, I tell you, Ron, you guys saw the video last night of the, I don't want to call him a streaker because he wasn't naked, but
he was a protester.
The dude running across the field. He had a flare that was shooting out pink smoke, and he's running across the Monday Night Football game last night. And the only thing that makes it interesting and funny is that a player for the Rams, Bobby Wagner, a linebacker, tackled him.
Didn't hit him hard enough, if you ask me.
But the security's chasing this guy around. They look like the Keystone Cops. They're just like falling down and they can't keep up. So Bobby Wagner's like, here, let me help you out. And he smashes this guy into the ground.
I love it.
And it's funny because Wagner didn't get hurt either, because that could be a dangerous situation if the guy was armed or something. I don't want to go up.
Well, right. But I mean, this is kind of the point. And we mentioned this briefly earlier, but I think this is an important thing to note. People get mad and they're like, well, you shouldn't, it shouldn't be violent toward those people. I'm saying, no. When you go anywhere you're not supposed to be intentionally to disrupt things, whatever happens to you is what happens to you.
Yes.
Like if somebody were to somehow get through the doors here in our building and just start running around the hallways with a flare shooting pink smoke, something's going to happen to them.
Because you have to
And it ain't
assume-
going to be nice.
You have to assume it's a threat.
Yeah.
This guy was protesting whistleblowers who have gone to jail because it blew the whistle on farms.
Factory farms, right?
Factory farms.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was pretty specific.
Why do I believe in the animal stuff, but why are they so weird?
Because the other person glued themselves to the court during a Timberwolves
I just
game.
don't get, they happened more than once.
I don't care if it's a concert, if it's a political rally, if it's just a regular business. But if you're going somewhere you don't belong, you don't get to complain if you get hurt.
Yes.
You did that to yourself.
Agreed.
Yes.
Just like going to play in traffic. Don't do that. It's dangerous.
Don't play in traffic.
KMOX, built for moments like this.
We're celebrating number 4 and number 5. Let me hear you on your feet as loud as you can get.
Both of you have given so much joy as we watched you play this great game.
And it was a great honor to wear this uniform for 19 years here in St. Louis.
Thank you so much for all your support, all the joy, all the tears that we have shared together.
Here every moment.
You guys are always going to have a special place in my heart.
The best fan, the best.
Always on KMOX.
This time of year, you might notice that the brick in your patio is going astray. Call Morelli. Hi, this is Charlie Brennan for Morelli Tuck Pointing, which has won every award possible in this industry, including the Better Business Bureau Torch Award, which is only given to companies with exceptional customer service. Morelli Tuck Pointing is the masonry specialist, serving St. Louis and beyond for 31 years. Morelli can do completely solid houses and buildings, spot pointing with color match, brick and stone repair, foundation repair, walkways, porches, patios, caulking, waterproofing solutions, and much more. Family owned and operated, and a lot of longtime employees that are like family. Call and request a free and quick estimate at 314-645-1387 or online at MorelliTuckPointing.com. And don't forget to check out their great reviews on the Google and Better Business Bureau websites. 314-645-1387 or MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Paramount Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit, and for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Brown. The physicians at Paramount Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Paramount Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
12:30, sunny skies, 70 degrees downtown at the Arch. Trading in shares of Twitter was halted after the stock spiked on reports that Elon Musk would proceed with his $44 billion deal to buy the company after months of legal battles. The news, based on anonymous sources, was first reported by Bloomberg News. A judge dismissed charges against 7 people in the Flint, Michigan water scandal, including 2 former state health officials blamed for deaths from Legionnaire's disease. Prince William has delivered his first speech as heir to the throne at a wildlife protection summit. The choice of venue signals that the royal family will continue to champion environmental protection as King Charles III is forced to step back from frontline campaigning. And right now, we've got a stall on 270 East at West Florissant on the right shoulder. Some debris, 44 going west at Barry. That's in the right lane. A stall on I-170 North before Natural Bridge on the right shoulder. Weather forecast from AccuWeather. High today, 76 degrees. Overnight, clear sky, low 49. Nice tomorrow, warm in the afternoon with a high of 82 degrees. Right now, downtown at the Arch, it's a sunny blue sky, 70. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Charging a cell phone can be like getting a booster shot. A booster is given to enhance or restore protection after a primary series vaccination, which wanes over time. Schedule an appointment when you are eligible. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
You wouldn't trust a butcher to babysit your pet pig. You wouldn't trust a lumberjack to repair your antiques. Or a professional wrestler to be your massage therapist. So why would you trust anyone but AMCO to fix your car? For over 50 years, we've been the trusted experts in transmission repair.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
AA MCO.
Why are some people afraid to enjoy their retirement?
And why are some people so worried about spending money during their golden years? Maybe it's because they're afraid of running out of money. Maybe they're afraid of depleting their nest egg, either through spending too much or through investment strategies that could result in losses. Hi, my name is Ken Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. Do you have a fear of depleting your savings and running out of money too soon? Let me help put your mind at ease. I can help you create an optimal retirement income distribution strategy that helps to maximize income from your retirement savings and eliminate your fear of running out of money. Call 314-328-4400 today and schedule your complimentary retirement roadmap review with our team. That's 314-328-4400. Again, 314-328-4400.
Heisey Advisory Group provides insurance services. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Your Central Division champion Cardinals host Wild Card Weekend starting Friday. John Rooney, Ricky Horton, and Valley Sports' Dan McLaughlin bring you all the postseason play. Hear it here on your exclusive home for Cardinals baseball, KMOX.
The pitch by Ueno. Albert is hit high and deep. A home run for Harrison Bader. Yadier Molina has homered. Double play. It's a big fly for Albert Pujols. A home run in the first inning for Goldie.
This is the Redbirds Report.
All right, second to last game of the regular season coming up tonight. Cardinals, of course, taking on the Pirates in another game that is more about prepping for what's next than it is about winning or losing these next couple of days. Dakota Hudson making the start today. They have not decided on what they're doing tomorrow. And now that we're kind of moving past the celebratory part of the year, right? I mean, we've had a ceremonial weekend where it's been great to recognize, 3 all-time great Cardinals. It's been fun watching Albert do everything that he's been doing. And starting in 2 days, none of it matters. The only thing that's going to matter in 2 days is what happens from Friday on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, that's kind of what we were talking about with Rick Hummel a little bit ago. It's kind of what Albert has been getting at. Like, we're here to win the World Series. Like, all this is great, and we can enjoy it because we've clinched and, we're in our position. But the truth of the matter is the real part of the Cardinals' calendar year starts on Friday.
It's funny because we've spent, what now, 2 months, maybe 2.5 months talking about the team this way. Because for me, it has felt for a very long time like the division is pretty much over.
Yeah.
Like it's theirs. I know that mathematically that may not have been true, but look, they were playing too well. Milwaukee's not that good,
Right.
it turns out. I mean, they've got 2 really good starting pitchers at the top, but overall, they've got too many problems. So it didn't ever feel to me like there was going to be a race. So I feel like we've been doing this inching toward the playoffs thing for weeks now. And while we're doing that, we're getting to celebrate 3 guys who are and have been a huge part of Cardinals history. So we've got 2 more days to do that, right? We have tonight. You've got tomorrow. We'll see how many Albert gets before we get to tomorrow. But then it starts, like that anticipation of Friday, trying to figure out who their opponent is going to be, first of all. We may not know until tomorrow night. I guess it could be tonight. If the Padres win and the Phillies lose, that'll be that, right? It will be the Phillies that they end up playing on Friday. But I think it's been a lot of fun to be able to just kind of relax about the standings and only focus on, or primarily focus on, what's happening on the field with those 3 guys we're talking about. But also, there's a little bit in the back of your mind, wondering what the rotation will look like and who's going to be healthy and that sort of stuff. But you just haven't had to worry about their position because it's been settled for so long.
Yeah. And also, I did see some people concerned about, the offense, lack of production, whatever, the past couple of games. But that's not the lineup that you'll see in the postseason. I mean, they're taking guys out of the game early. Right. It's not the same team and the same 9 innings that you're going to get in the postseason.
And also, it doesn't really matter what they're doing. It doesn't matter what an individual, how the offense looks right now, because once the playoffs start, they could be tearing it up right now offensively. That does not mean on Friday they will continue to tear it up. And it could be the exact opposite. The only thing you have to worry about is what is the health of all of these players we're talking about, whether it's Arenado or Wainwright or anybody else, are they healthy? That's it. That's the only concern going in.
Yeah. And look, when what we're talking about really as far as decision making is one thing. It's which three pitchers are going to start the 3 games in the next series. Some of that may be based on who you're facing. You might have a different set of guys in mind. Well, I shouldn't say set, because really I think 2 of them are set, right? I mean, Michaelis and Quintana probably have to be 2 of the 3. And then it comes down to, when you're factoring this in, if you're going just hard, cold numbers, like what's happened the last 5 or 6 weeks, well, then the third choice is either Montgomery or Flaherty, right? I mean, Flaherty, because he's got the stuff and he's pitched okay. He's pitched pretty well the last few times out. But there's more to it than that, because you also have to consider the psychological element of all of this too, which is why Adam Wainwright is in the conversation. If it was just numbers, Waino's not in the conversation. He's really struggled. I mean, getting hit hard, not striking people out. I mean, you name it, and he's even the one saying I've not been good. So we don't have to ascribe anything that's not already being said by him. That really is the decision now. But let's be honest. I think Rick Hummel made a great point. The starting pitching almost doesn't matter in the postseason anymore. Like the way that now, if you have a Max Scherzer, it matters. If you have a Jacob deGrom, it might matter. But in general, you're just going to start playing matchups after the first time through the order anyway. Who's to say that you're not going to start with somebody and they go 2 or 3 innings and then you got a new guy in there and you just keep going from there? I mean, the new way of running a team, the whole idea of the rotation members being that big of a deal might not be current, might not be as relevant as it was 10 years ago.
So Wainwright, obviously experienced veteran, and you would think would have some objectivity as far as his ability to perform. How much does Ollie Marmol talk to Wainwright about whether or not he himself being ready to go? And how much do you take into account what Waino's own analysis of his readiness?
I think he'd be, it's a good question, because I think he would be honest, but also there's that part of him that's like, I'm a competitor, and once the playoffs start, I'm going to want to shove, which is totally possible. That might happen. He might take the ball in whatever game it is, game 3, and just go off. And you're like, oh, there's that guy. Where was he for the last few weeks? So that could be the outcome of it. The way I would look at it is, if I determine that he is perfectly healthy, that he's okay, dead arm's not bothering him, or any other health-related issues or body-related issues, if those all check out okay, I would be inclined to give him an opportunity, probably in the second round. Maybe not in this first one, just because there have been other guys who've been better. But again, it's Wainwright, and you might get playoff Wainwright. You don't really know.
Yeah.
It's a huge gamble.
This is probably the most difficult thing that Ollie Marmol is going to have to deal with in his first year. Like, they've had a lot of issues to deal with this year, right? A lot of injuries to manage, playing time to manage for Albert as an example. Like, how often do we want to use him? All those things. And I think Ollie's done a really great job managing the roster, making sure that everybody's being used properly, playing matchups, the whole deal. But this right here is not at all simple. I mean, again, you have 4 pitchers that are throwing better right now and have better raw stuff right now than the guy that we've counted on so many times before. Right? I mean, again, just taking any of the, forget emotion, taking any of the experience out of it, taking any of the clutchness out of it, take all that out of it. It's just, what have you done over the last 5 or 6 weeks? There is no debate. But that's not what it's about. I mean, no sport is about that simple thing.
Because, and you said this earlier, this is very much, this week, in the last, I guess, week leading up to it, very similar to spring training. And when you have a veteran pitcher who does not have the results during spring, like you go back and look at the lines and the numbers during Cactus League or Grapefruit League, during those games over the month of March, you might say, all right, well, he's got a 5 ERA, so he wasn't very good, but maybe he's working on stuff. I mean, he's a veteran who knows what he needs to do when it's crunch time, when it's time to go. All the stuff he was working on during spring, that's why the results were bad, because he was doing things he won't do normally in a regular season. maybe that's what Wainwright is once the playoffs start. Maybe all these things that have happened or his starts and results over the last few weeks won't matter. But that's the gamble, is you don't know.
Yeah, except that when you're looking at it now, he's already thrown almost 190 innings. He's 40. He threw 200 innings last year. Like this is different than in spring, where even if there's soreness, it's like, okay, it's early and you'll get past it. When it's happening at the end of a long year where you've had a heavy workload, it becomes a more complicated question, which is, normally I love like guessing along with managers and trying to figure out how I do it. And I have a feeling as to how I would do it now, and I would go totally a-traditional. I would think of these starts not as this is my starting pitcher and he's going to be a quote starting pitcher, but this is my guy until he's not my guy.
Okay.
Or maybe not automatic, but the minute I see something I don't like, I'm making a change because I have enough pitching. I have guys like, let's say you don't use Montgomery as a starter. Well, he still gets you 4 innings if you need him to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that might end up being how you have to look at the playoffs across the board, unless you're talking about DeGrom or Scherzer or somebody like that. And the Cardinals don't have that guy. They don't have one of those guys at this point. But they do have 5 guys that can get people out over multiple innings. The play here might be, all right, yeah, we've got guys that are going to start games, but we're not looking for 5 or 6 innings. The minute something looks off, we're changing. And we're going to flip the lineup and maybe go to a lefty. Or we're going to go to a different style of pitcher. So maybe we go from, a lefty like Quintana, and he's struggling in the second inning. Well, here comes Jordan Hicks throwing 104. I think that might be the way to play this rather than looking at it like here's a traditional, normal way of running a rotation.
So I didn't realize the Phillies haven't been in the playoffs since 2011.
Since the matchup. Since Roy Halladay and Chris Carpenter got together.
That blows my mind that was the last time. And I know this is kind of a pointless question, but do you have a preference, Padres or Phillies?
I honestly would rather face the Phillies. Personally.
There's no good statistical measure. There's no good set of numbers that really says one will be more favorable than the other. I mean, one has 88 wins, one has 87 wins. Right. They both have big bats. I mean, you're looking at Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber and JT Realmuto. Like that, the Phillies have big bats. The Padres have Soto and Machado. I mean, they have I think Phillies lineup's probably a little deeper than the Padres lineup. They both have good pitchers at the front end of the rotation. And the Phillies have Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler, and they're both really good. But Philly seems to always have more questions in the bullpen.
Yeah.
And that would make me want to face them more than the Padres. Even though the Padres bullpen isn't great, they've always had pretty good bullpen management. I think you can get Phillies relievers. That would probably be my hedge, but it's basically a coin flip.
So I heard this statistic during the broadcast last night that the Cardinals have 64 errors this season, which is the lowest so far in team history. The lowest number of errors was 66. That was actually set in 2019, so fairly recently. Is it telling at all that the defense, the Gold Glove runners we have on this team, that you have a pitch to contact team and also the lowest number of errors? Just kind of the combo of how strong the field is.
That's how they build their team. Like they don't worry about strikeouts because they don't have to.
Yeah,
they're fine with it. But I will say, strikeouts matter a bit more in the postseason.
Yeah,
they really do. Like when you're facing really good hitters and top teams that are loaded, you got to get some swings and misses, which, by the way, might lend you to picking Jack Flaherty for a matchup as opposed to somebody else. I mean, he and Montgomery have pretty good strikeout rates and other guys don't. So maybe that's a tiebreaker.
Speaking of tiebreakers, the Phillies own the tiebreaker for this end of the regular season. So here's what has to happen if the Cardinals are going to play the Padres, who lead the Phillies by 1 game. With 2 games left to play, the Padres have to end up in front. They have to end up in front. They cannot end up tied with Philly, because if that happens, it will be a Cardinals-Padres series on Friday. So as of right now, the Cardinals play Philadelphia, but if at the end of the year they are tied, Philadelphia and San Diego, or the Phillies lead, it'll be Cardinals-Padres at Busch.
Very nice. All right, that's the Redbird Report for today. The Cardinals taking on the Pirates tonight. 5:35 for the first pitch. That means 4:40 for your pregame show, starting with our buddy Matt Pauley, Dakota Hudson for the Cardinals, and JT Brubaker getting the start for Pittsburgh.
In the time of chimpanzees.
Tom Ackerman here for Building Community with Busey Bank, a podcast series easily accessible at KMOX.com/community banking. This month, the United Way celebrates 100 years of helping those in our region. And of course, Busey Bank continues its long-standing involvement. Our October podcast focuses on what the United Way means to our community and the many ways you can get involved. Listen to our October podcast, Building Community with Busey Bank, at KMOX.com/community banking.
Hello, this is Chad Clayman with ClaymanGroup.com, 314-946-9999, 946, all nines. If you just inherited a property and you're not sure what you're going to do with it and you want an as-is sale, please reach out to us today. Especially with probate cases, we do a lot of work with the probate courts and we're very familiar with the confusing process. So if you have a house that you want to sell fast, maybe something that you just inherited, please reach out. Phone number is 314-946, all nines, ClaymanGroup.com, KLAMEN, 946-9999.
What do you have for us today, Charlotte?
Charlotte is the little sister of the Tooth Fairy. Charlotte is the Junk Fairy.
If you have stuff in your shed that you haven't used in the past 12 months,
yes,
you're not storing stuff, you've got junk.
Turn your storage shed into a shed that you can use again.
Give yourself some space to maneuver.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Hey, Ed Brock, everybody. If you love Halloween like I do yourself a favor and visit Johnny Brock's Dungeon. Why shop those tiny pop-up shops when you can shop 30,000 square feet of locally owned Halloween fun? We're open all year at I-44 in Jefferson on the edge of Soulard. Johnny Brock's Dungeon, a St. Louis must-see.
You're not just looking for a doctor. You're looking for a way to feel better. At Archwell Health, our team is devoted to improving the lives of seniors like you. Barbara was ready to try chair yoga for the first time. She took one of our classes and met friends along the way. James chatted with his doctor and the team dietitian and got to the bottom of his dizzy spells. Archwell Health members enjoy a community of comprehensive care because you are more than a patient. Join today at archwellhealth.com/livewell.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is hiring commercial and residential technicians and installers. Do you have a technical background? Are you mechanically and or electronically inclined? Overhead Door Company of St. Louis offers a paid training program, company vehicle that you take home, health benefits, competitive pay, starting bonus, and much more. Now hiring commercial and residential technicians. Go to overheaddoorsstlouis.com to learn more. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
We're all on this planet together, so join Odyssey and find your one thing. After Halloween, your used jack-o'-lantern and other gourds are great additions to any compost pile. Join Odyssey, and together, each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. What's your one thing?
For all your communication needs, check out the Center for Hearing and Speech. Call today, 314-968-4710 or chsstl.org.
Stress and anxiety reactions following disasters can be challenging. If you were impacted by the recent floods, show me hope, because help is available. Find resources and local providers at moshowmehope.org. Brought to you by the Missouri Department of Mental Health.
Charlie Brennan sees clearly thanks to Dr. Birdie and Malhotra. You can too. Go to youridoc.com today or call 314-966-5000. The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
Amy, Chris, and Kevin.
The greatest radio talk show host ever.
Now, more of the show.
Hey, guys. The sale of Twitter's on again.
Oh, my gosh. This is exhausting.
Please don't tell me that What's His Stuff is doing it.
What's this stuff?
The guy who knows how to solve all the world's problems, and if we'd all just listen to him, we'd be fine.
Yeah.
It's that guy?
Yeah.
God bless America.
First of all,
Go away.
he got yelled at yesterday, and a diplomat from Ukraine, who I think was stationed where in Belgium?
Germany.
Yep. Basically told him to blank off.
No, did not basically.
he did.
He very explicitly
That's true.
told him to get.
Literally said blank off.
Yeah.
You know, and that's my official diplomatic response to you. Because, Elon's doing the whole, he does that thing that I think we all hate from everyone is, look, all you need to do is this. All you need to do
He's always got a
is-
simple
I know.
explanation for everything.
It was kind of a both sides thing.
Yeah.
With Ukraine and Russia. There is no both sides
Right.
with
No.
Ukraine and Russia.
Ukraine was a country, Russia invaded them and killed a bunch of people, and in a lot of cases tortured them.
Yeah.
So, no.
I saw one
Shut
of
up,
the,
Elon.
I saw one of the replies to him on Twitter was somebody like, hey, if somebody comes up to one of your Teslas and steals the wheels, it doesn't mean those wheels belong to them now.
Yeah.
They're still stolen. It's not like, oh, they have them, just let them have them and, go from there.
Or I heard another way to put it. Let's say somebody comes into your house and then says, I'm taking your garage and living room. They're mine now. And you're not supposed to do anything about it. You're just supposed to say, oh, okay, well, you can have
don't
it.
hit me.
Because if you don't let me have your living room and garage, I'm going to set the whole place on fire.
Yeah.
You're just supposed to let him? Get lost with that.
So the thing with Elon, because we were talking about he engenders a lot of strong feelings from people. Some people love him, some people hate him. I think for me,
Raising
it's
my
like
hand.
Yeah, I hate him.
It's disliking him, but also there's that element of incredulity where you're looking, going, really? You are worth billions of dollars. You could go live in the mountains. You could go sit on your yacht, but you're trolling on Twitter and getting involved in politics about which you know nothing.
He honestly sees, I believe this, and I guess maybe a psychologist can tell me I'm wrong, but I believe he sees himself as the savior of everything, and anybody who does not believe that he is that much of a genius where he can save us from everything is an idiot. And if they don't believe him, then they should be ridiculed. I think that's the kind of person he is.
Do you think that it's not so much that he thinks he knows everything, which I'm sure there is a lot of that and ego involved, but he's also just kind of a troll. Like he knows he's going to rile people up.
I think there's part of that too.
He needs it.
So I was reading a story, not to bring Trump into it, but a lot of people say, oh, he's playing 4D chess with some of the excerpts coming out from Maggie Haberman's book. Some of it is too, a lot of times Trump would just say what he needed to say to get through that moment. He wasn't playing 4D chess in that moment.
Well, I think if you listen to him do interviews over the course of his presidency, I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah, he was just kind of saying, it wasn't like he was saying, like, what did he mean by that? I think it just came to his mind and he said it. With Elon, sometimes I feel like he's thinking, I'm just going to stir the pot. Like he's just being a troll.
I think there's part of that, but I also really do think he sees himself as
a savior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he thinks because he has this car company and he has spaceships, that he knows things that the rest of us don't and we can't possibly understand. And he can fix everything. And everything is a simple fix.
Well, then we should see a better Twitter here in the not too distant future.
Oh,
if
it
you
better
can
be
fix
amazing.
everything. It better be a whole lot better. I don't know how much better it's going to be though.
It's going to get worse.
Because to be honest with you, it's the users that make it terrible. It's not the software. It's the users that make it bad. And I don't know how you're going to fix that.
How are you going to fix the sewer?
You know, the Midwest Money slogan, isn't cash in the bank better than scrap in the drawer? This is Johnny Rabbit. Midwest Money, the oldest coin shop in St. Louis. Buying, selling, and trading since 1971. Silver and gold, coins, sterling silver, flags, medals, daggers, and more. Not sure what you have? Bring your collectibles to someone you can trust. Midwest Money, at the corner of Hampton and Holly Hills. You'll be happy you did.
CertaPro painters have powers beyond those of ordinary painters.
The power of timeliness.
We show up when we say we will, on time and fully caffeinated.
The power of transformation.
Also known as making your house look so good, your neighbors will be jealous.
The power of certainty.
That's your local CertaPro painters. The power of pro. Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
Let's talk real estate for a minute. The St. Louis market is kind of tricky for home sellers right now, with home values going down and not selling as quickly. Now is not the time to risk losing precious equity on your home. This is Debbie Monterey, and I always recommend calling Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria's the best. She's experienced every type of market, both good, great, and the not so good. So before you list your home for sale, call Gloria, and here's why. Gloria Liu will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she'll buy it herself, guaranteed in writing. Gloria already has the buyers, thousands of buyers in her database. In fact, your home may already be sold. Gary and Angela called Gloria and sold their home even before it listed because Gloria had several buyers looking for a home in that area. Call Gloria Liu today at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or find her online at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Congress has authorized trillions in new spending, along with doubling the size of the IRS agency in just the last few months. Do you think that is by accident? No, it is with a purpose, to go after small businesses, employees, and individuals who have not filed or paid their taxes. If this is you, don't panic, just call. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee, which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120, or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news, KMOX.
At 1 o'clock, it's sunny and 72 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour, Elon Musk's Twitter deal appears to be back on.
After all the back and forth and lawsuits, and before his deposition in one of them this week, Elon Musk is now said to be offering once again to buy Twitter at his original offer price of $54.20 a share. Sources tell Bloomberg Musk made that proposal in a letter to the social media platform, and Twitter shares went up as much as 18% on the news. Now trading has been halted on the stock, with it rising almost 13%. Joan Doniger, Bloomberg Radio.
The Drug Enforcement Agency in New York City is sounding the alarm about fentanyl marketed to look like candy ahead of Halloween. It's called Rainbow Fentanyl, and in this case, a recent seizure was found to be hidden in Lego boxes. New York City Special Narcotics Prosecutor Bridget Brennan.
Inside the Lego container were several brick-shaped packages covered in black tape lying next to Lego blocks.
The DEA says 108,000 Americans died last year from overdoses, 66% involving fentanyl. They say these pills originated from Mexico and China. The Supreme Court has heard arguments in a key voting rights case. The court is considering a lawsuit to force Alabama to create a second black majority congressional district. Judge Sonia Sotomayor spoke of a lower court's ruling in a legal challenge to the state's present congressional map.
They found that the respondents' maps respected traditional districting better than the state's map.
Only one of Alabama's 7 congressional districts is mostly black, even though 27% of the state's residents are African American. KMOX Sports, Albert Pujols continues a magical season in the twilight of his career.
He made it to 700 home runs in what's billed as his last season, and with number 703 last night on Bally Sports in Pittsburgh, 42-year-old Albert Pujols went further.
Albert hits it down the left field line. Number 703. RBIs, number 2,000.
215 and 16. He's passed Babe Ruth. Second all-time in history and runs batted in. Hank Aaron is the all-time leader with 2,297. If Pujols retires as planned, that record will be safe. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
The First Mid-Bank and Trust Business Desk. Hiring plans are being pulled back as employers brace for a slower economy. Jason Brooks has more.
August job openings plummeted by more than 1 million from the month before to 10 million, the lowest level since last year. The biggest declines in openings were in healthcare and social services and retail. Glassdoor reports that there were 1.7 openings for every unemployed worker in August, down from nearly 2 in July. Wall Street is embracing the report on the hopes that weaker hiring will compel the Federal Reserve to dial back future rate hike plans.
4.2 million Americans quit their jobs in August, while the closely followed quits rate remains steady at 2.7%. The Dow from Stifel up 719 points. And we've got debris on 70 East on the ramp from 79. Stall 270 North past Dorset on the right shoulder. Stall 55 South at Imperial, Maine. The right lane closed.
This afternoon, sunny and pleasant. Enjoy it. High of 76 degrees. Tonight, mainly clear, low 49. Heading into tomorrow, partial sunshine, nice and shaping up to be a warm afternoon with a high of 82. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Matt Benz on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Right now, it's sunny and 72 degrees downtown at the Arch, sponsored by the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. Are you considering life insurance? Penn Mutual's accelerated client experience makes applying for life insurance fast and easy. Ask your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than four? 314-441-4444.
It's 104 on the show. Chris Ranji, Amy Marskors, Kevin Wheeler with you here. You can join us anytime you'd like. 314-436-7900. I believe you may have some thoughts on this next topic, so please chime in either with the text line, 314-436-7900.
Is it about high-fiving children?
No, 314-944-1120. It's an even dumber thing.
Is it about calling your friends?
No, it's even dumber, and when I say dumber, I mean like a more annoying thing.
Oh,
and we're gonna talk about meetings.
Oh,
all right. So not like to me, there are meetings. Like we have a show meeting every day. It's a few people. That's not what I'm talking about.
Us.
I'm not talking about a department meeting where you're saying like there's 4 or 5 people that work on the same project and you got to talk about things because of course you have to. We're talking about the big company-wide meetings where everybody's on a Zoom or everybody's sitting in a conference room and you end that meeting and you're like, I didn't need to know any of that.
Before we get started, I would like to say that here at Odyssey Corp, I have learned a lot in the company-wide STL meetings that we have had in the time that I have been with this institution. And I appreciate the things that I have learned, and I've been able to apply them to my daily work. And I would like to thank everybody involved and Odyssey for allowing this to happen.
You have never been to a meeting.
Oh, that's
here.
true. I have not been to a single meeting
of that type.
Because they always have them during the show.
Yeah. So we don't
You've
end up
not
doing
been
that.
to a meeting.
I have not.
Well,
but I can't wait to go.
The story that we're going through is so many companies do these big meetings and they end up at the end of the year when you kind of add it all up, spending a whole lot of money and not getting the return for that, essentially, right?
Yeah. So they have found, and this was from a study done recently by Harvard Business. And what they found is that large companies could save as much as $100 million a year by holding fewer unnecessary meetings and cutting down on their invite lists, according to this recent study. Overall, companies spend a total of $37 billion per year on meetings, which is underlining the enormous investment in such communications. So, I mean, if you think about it, and I'm sure everybody listening, and in fact, there are probably people listening at work right now on the Odyssey app or at KMOX.com, maybe in a meeting. Maybe they've got the
earbuds.
Yeah, that's right. And they're probably thinking, I don't need to be here. I don't need to be in this meeting. There are other things that I can be doing. I can actually be productive right now for this company if I was not in this meeting at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe maybe a third, if you really go through all the meetings that you have, maybe a third of the time spent, and it could be higher than that, it probably would be better used doing something else than going to a corporate meeting.
The big ones. Because again,
the big ones.
There's a difference between a small group meeting where you all work together on a project or you work together, like in our case, on a show. That's not the same thing as here's something from the corporate level that may or may not even impact
but I think
the
this
people
study,
that are there.
This study does also include the not just national company meetings, but maybe the entire your entire office.
Huh, okay.
So you don't like there are a lot of times where you'll have an office meeting where everybody in the office has to be at it, but maybe really legitimately only 50% of the people should be there, where the other 50% should be doing other things and making money for the company.
I have gotten kicked out of meetings because I make them less productive, apparently. We used to have meetings weekly.
I'm in the show meetings before the show starts, and Amy, I can attest to that.
Yeah. So we used to have this weekly meeting, like editors meeting. We'd have the show hosts and some of the newsroom people, and we would all meet here. And it was a weekly meeting. And we would talk about what we were, try to coordinate, right? Here's the stories we're working on. Here are the guests we're having. Let's brainstorm, good stuff. And apparently I was distracting and, quote, unproductive.
Mhm.
And so Steve, our boss, told me to stop coming to the meeting.
That sounds right.
And
so what were you doing in the meetings?
I was like telling him all of my great ideas for
Were you
shows.
telling ideas or were you going off on tangents?
Well, I don't know. But all I know is Dave Klein, who used to be the producer for Mark Reardon, came out of the room, storming out of the room one time and said, I have tried my whole career to get kicked out of this meeting.
I can't do it.
You did it in like 2 meetings.
By actually trying to be, other people try to be disruptive to get thrown out. You're trying to help.
I'm trying to contribute.
Which is, Amy, you're just making it worse.
Yeah. So I got kicked out of that meeting. But I think if it is a meeting where you should never spend any time getting to know the other people at the meeting. That's
there's no point in that.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah,
we got
don't
stuff
need that.
to do.
Yeah, we don't need that stuff.
Yeah.
It is just fascinating because I've been in meetings in a number of different companies, and there are plenty of times you get through a meeting, you're like, that was pretty important. I'm glad they passed that along to us. I'm glad I understand this thing better. And then there are plenty of times. I mean, I go back to my very first radio job. We'd have these big company-wide meetings. It was when the Sporting News bought our radio network. So it was Paul Allen, who is, the big billionaire who's buying the magazine and this radio thing and putting them together. And they're giving us all this synergy talk and all this stuff. And not one thing they said in that meeting actually happened. Not one.
If you use the word
and it was
synergy,
like 2 hours.
Happen.
It was 2 hours of guys in suits and somebody calling in for a conference call. And like, they want to just want to let you guys know, boy, do we got big plans. Not one thing in a 2-hour meeting ever happened.
At the corporate level, there are a number of people who have people who have influence over whether or not meetings are called, whether or not there's actually a meeting. I think there are a lot of people who do it so that they can report to the people above them, hey, we held this meeting. We're being productive. Look, see, we had meetings.
Busy work.
I think the meetings for those people, that is their job, is to create meetings so that you can tell the people above you that you're doing something.
We used to have staff meetings at a different place, not this place. And they always had free food, which was a plus because they would have coffee.
That makes it a
and
good meeting.
I can
a
be
lot
at
of
that
food.
meeting.
That's a good
And
meeting.
there was one guy who would always have his water bottle with him, but it was not water in the water bottle.
And I like this
It
guy.
was
Orange
vodka.
juice?
It was vodka.
Mhm.
Every meeting.
Could you smell it?
Yeah.
I like this guy. So
He was also one of those guys that would sign up for all of the pharmaceutical tests and blood work so he could earn money.
Oh my God. What's wrong with this fella?
No, this guy was out there. He was always a good time. He was interesting to talk to. But yes, he always brought vodka to the meeting, which I respected.
Well,
in a
how else are
way.
you going to get through it?
Yeah. I mean, the big meetings.
Think about
the unproductive ones, especially the ones where you have to do cute little games.
I used this phrase earlier. Oh my God. First of all, let me address that. If anybody ever at this company suggests we do an escape room.
Oh, let's go.
No, let's not go, Kevin. We're not doing an escape room.
Let's go. I've never done it.
I will.
Is it terrible?
I will pay $50 to not have to do an escape
Have you done it?
room.
I'll
Is it
match
terrible?
that 50.
Yes.
It's terrible.
It's
All right.
so boring.
How
No,
about
it's not
this?
terrible because there might be some really good company here in St. Louis.
Let's go to, instead of that, let's go to a haunted house.
I think I
Oh,
might
I'll
have
go to a
also
haunted
loved
house
it.
though.
And I mean like the jump scare one, but also a real haunted one. Can
Should
we make
we-
that our,
should
can we make that
we-
our company bonding?
Let's all
you
get a
two
room
can.
let's all get one room at the Lemp Mansion and stay overnight.
Go. I'm in.
You think Kevin's loud in his sleep?
Yes.
Hmm.
If I'm laying wrong, I snore.
I'm not getting a room with you guys.
No, you get your own.
No, I said one room. We're all sharing the room.
I thought you meant one room.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's go. I'm in. I'll
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
You guys might not, but I will.
Kevin will.
Now, if I wear the mouth guard, I don't snore.
Oh, gosh.
I kind of just want to be there for the mouth guard.
It's not.
Not that exciting. I'm
yeah,
guessing.
really, it's pretty unnoticeable.
Well, I'll be taking photos.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like HR.
It's not like I'm going to have like the
is going to have
headgear.
issues with all of Ranji's ideas in the past 30 seconds.
What are you talking about?
No, I think this is great.
Yeah, I can do I love the haunted house idea. I've always wanted to stay in the Lemp Mansion.
I'm in for any of that.
I would be very disappointed if we did it though, and nothing
didn't
rattled.
see anything? Yeah.
Yeah, nothing rattled.
So is the conclusion here that you guys don't like meetings unless the meetings are at a haunted house?
Unless they're
Correct,
fun.
yeah.
No,
They
could
gotta be fun.
If they were at, say,
Six Flags.
No.
Six Flags.
Let's have a sick. Ooh,
Yeah.
October. What's the scary Halloween?
I don't know.
Okay,
Fright
can I say-
Fright Fest.
no,
Fright Fest.
Can I
Fright
say
Night.
something awful?
What? You've never been to Six Flags?
No, but I have. But if you're gonna have a meeting that's a fun day, wouldn't you rather just have a fun day with your friends versus a fun day with your
I
coworkers?
happen to think of my coworkers as friends, Amy. I know you don't like us,
Well,
but
I mean, I like you guys. I do.
I just don't want to be near you
well,
away from work
yeah. I mean,
in my own time.
yeah.
If that's true, would you please stop calling me?
Does Amy have a bumper sticker like on one side it says I'd rather be reading and the other side says I'd rather be running? Can you run and read at the same time?
I have
audiobooks.
It's difficult.
Oh, audiobooks.
Well,
She does
audiobooks,
audiobooks.
That's not
or-
really reading though. That's listening.
Or you have a little something on your index card if you're trying to remember it, and you read it while you're running, and then put it in your pocket, and then see if you remember it. Not that I've ever done that.
Like studied while you were running?
Like,
My God,
memorizing
you are.
poetry.
I'm going to use the thing that Glover said about you, and it was the best way to put Amy.
Yeah.
You're not a real person. Just isn't.
I'm not saying I ever memorized poetry off an index card while I was running.
Is that lady? People are driving by you on Skinker,
Yeah.
and you're holding a book. Is she running
It
and
was an
reading?
index card.
Whatever.
One?
Yeah. Because it's like a poem or a paragraph from a poem. It takes a while to memorize a paragraph. You can write a whole paragraph
Hey,
on a
speaking
index
of
card.
Friends and the Dave Glover show, do you know that? So Trish Gazal's been in the station for a couple hours now.
Oh,
She's
probably.
been,
Yeah.
She's been. She refuses to say hi to me.
That's
What did
because
you
you're
do?
mean to
Nothing.
her.
I said hi Trish, and she just keeps saying no.
You did something.
I didn't do anything. She won't say hi to me.
Trish said hi to me.
You know,
She said hi to
Right
me.
away, too. Like, not even with a hesitation. Like,
You know
oh,
what
hi,
you-
Kev.
based on the story that we mentioned earlier, that we talked about earlier, that friends like it when you call them. I'm going to call her right now. I'm going to call her.
Does she answer?
I'm going to see if she answers. So you guys talk amongst yourselves.
If you're
and I'm
watching,
gonna,
if you're watching on
oh
Facebook,
my God,
Facebook.com/KMOX1120.
she just sent me to voicemail. She just S-buttoned me. Hold on. I'm going to call one more time. Maybe there's bad
Maybe we
reception.
can call her from the studio.
Hold
phone.
on. Maybe there's just bad reception.
Yeah, right.
One ring.
Get
Right.
the-
She did it again. That's it. How dare you? Oh my God.
Here's Ranji like, nobody should ever call me, but when I call you, you should
Answer the phone. I am furious.
I think we need to get Trish on the line.
Oh my God! You know what? She just texted back. She said no. This is outrageous.
Friends don't call friends, Ranji.
Oh my God, I am so hot right now.
And you know who said that? You.
Oh yeah, I did.
Feeding America is working with local food banks in Florida to assist those affected by Hurricane Ian. To support Feeding America, make a donation at feedingamerica.org. A message from the caring voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
This month's Zero Res special. The more you clean, the more you save. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129 or 5 rooms starting at $199. A 43% savings. Take $75 off any air duct cleaning package. Call 314-474-2020 or go to ZeroResSTL.com.
CertaPro painters have powers beyond those of ordinary painters.
Power of timeliness.
We show up when we say we will, on time and fully caffeinated.
The power of transformation.
Also known as making your house look so good, your neighbors will be jealous.
The power of certainty.
That's your local CertaPro painters. The power of pro. Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Yes, with inflation, interest rate increases, and a possible recession looming, we are no doubt facing uncertain times in the housing market. But as a realtor with over 20 years of experience, I can tell you, if you're thinking of selling your home, now more than ever, you need a realtor to help you through these times while saving you money. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty, and we offer all of this for only 4%. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
It's simple math. Rising prices equals tighter family budgets. I'm Katie Stewart. I'm a mom and a math teacher. In Springfield, I cut grocery taxes, froze gas taxes, and delivered income tax credits for working families. I helped pass measures to crack down on price gouging by drug companies to lower healthcare costs. I'm investing in vocational training to train workers for high-paying jobs like welders and carpenters that pay $35 or more an hour. I'm Katie Stewart. My opponent, Jennifer Cordy, has said victims of rape who choose to have an abortion will regret it later. Cordy is for a total ban on choice in Illinois. I'll protect a woman's right to choose, no matter what happens in Washington. It's why Planned Parenthood supports me. I'm Katie Stewart, candidate for state representative. I'm not a politician. I follow numbers, and our community is always first. Paid for by Friends for Katie Stewart.
You know, the Midwest Money slogan, isn't cash in the bank better than scrap in the drawer? This is Johnny Rabbit. Midwest Money, the oldest coin shop in St. Louis. Buying, selling, and trading since 1971. Silver and gold, coins, sterling silver, flags, medals, daggers, and more. Not sure what you have? Bring your collectibles to someone you can trust. Midwest Money, at the corner of Hampton and Holly Hills. You'll be happy you did.
We go where you go. 1120 AM, 98.7 FM, KMOX.com.
All right, Raj, any updates? Did Trish return your call?
No, she just she did not return my call. But what she did do was send. I said to her, "How dare you ignore my phone call?" And she just responded with the emoji of the mouth zippered shut. Like she doesn't want to talk to me.
Here's the thing, Ranj.
I don't think this is funny.
Well, neither do a lot
So
of
just
people.
to recap for people
Whoa.
tuning in, and by the way, if you're just now tuning in, what's the matter with you? You should be listening all day. We start at 10 o'clock. I've been saying hello to Trish all day. I pass her in the office. I say hi, and she refuses to respond to me, and she just says no.
Yeah.
Which I think is rude.
No, here's the thing. The key, what you said is I've been saying hi to Trish all day. The problem with Ranji is he says hi to everyone all day.
So
you are constantly walking up to people in the newsroom, people trying to get stuff done.
Yeah.
Like Kevin Killeen and Michael Calhoun.
You were just
and
antagonizing
Megan
Andrew.
Lynch. Andrew.
I was not.
You did.
Jane
You got aggressive
is
with
working
Andrew.
behind the desk with Stuart McMillan.
Yeah.
She can't get anything done with you around.
No, I don't think that's true.
I
saw
think Trish
Andrew.
is speaking for the people.
No, I saw Andrew in the office.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, what's up, Andrew? And he said, not right now, or whatever. I don't know. I was cranky.
You went up to him and said, "Where's Trish?"
You know who
Well, that's
would
true. I
have
did
the
say.
honest assessment of this? I think she might be off today. I think she's off today.
Who's that?
I wish Carol Daniel were here or listening because
Oh, she
she would
loves me.
text in with an honest assessment.
She
of
loves me.
Ranj.
Carol loves me. Debbie loves me. Stuart loves me.
Huh.
The whole newsroom. Big fan of me. I love our new. By the way, our newsroom is incredible.
Oh gosh,
They're so good.
I had an idea. Well,
They're
that's
so
not an
good.
idea. This is a pipe dream, as you might call it. Don't you think the country would be better off if you took the budget for cable news and gave it to newspapers and local newsrooms?
Yes. Oh,
and you
oh,
switched the budget.
absolutely.
Right? And then the
Absolutely.
budget that local newsrooms have, that's what CNN and
Yeah.
Fox have to work
Yep.
with.
Yep. We'd be
But-
so much better off.
We'd be better even if you changed nothing else in the country, but you took the budgets from cable news and gave them to newspapers and local newsrooms. We'd be better off.
Nationally speaking, the death of local news around the country is one of the worst things that's happening to us and has been happening for 2 decades.
Local news
Just
is
it's
so
not any,
important.
there's no question about it. It's super, super important. You got these vulture capitalist companies coming in and with the sole purpose of buying and then dismantling the companies, the
And-
newspapers around the country.
And even national,
Just horrible.
Yeah, local news, local newsrooms, local newspapers, national newspapers, even because, again, more often than not, the truth isn't sexy enough, right? For people. People want flashy hot takes. They want what the cable news gives, where people are just spouting off left
Yeah.
and right, whatever comes to their minds, whatever will get eyeballs. But I think with the newspaper, there's something more methodical about it. You can see, sure, you can say if the New York Times leans this way, the Wall Street Journal leans the other way, fine. But there's still good reporters,
Extremely
great
valuable.
reporting,
Yep.
gatekeepers. And yes, I think we should switch the budgets.
Anytime you
like
hear
that.
the words Alden Capital, run. Those people are horrific. Absolutely horrific. And what they've done to media around the country, it's disastrous and it's too bad because I really do think it's making our discourse worse.
Yeah. What I'm hearing is 100% accurate, but I'm also hearing that it's our fault because this is what we want. And when I
Yeah.
say we, I mean American people.
Yes.
I don't mean you, me, or every single person, but as a whole, the reason things are the way they are
Mhm.
is because that's what people watch.
No, and I get it, and I've referred to this before, but I think a lot of cable news, especially the talk show hosts, they're like drug dealers, and people keep going back for the
Yep.
hits of these hot take drugs that whatever the cable news talk show hosts, the cable news talking heads are giving, but it quite literally is like a political drug dealer. And you're right. I mean, it's our fault for turning those shows on our television. They're doing it for the money and the people are there, but there's something about it that's psychologically addicting and
Well,
it feels
I
like
mean,
a drug deal.
We talked about it with the anniversary of the OJ trial. I mean, it basically what we see now started with that, where the more sensational it was, the more people watched. People watched that trial. They watched the car chase. They watched the coverage of everything. And the cable companies learned, wow, people like that. Let's do more of that.
True, but also the local news and these papers around the country still can be profitable It's just that if it's not exponentially profitable year to year, then it's seen as a failure, which is nonsense. Like, it shouldn't be viewed that way. If you could turn any kind of profit, you are a valuable company. But none of this explains why Trish won't say hi to me.
I think you explained that earlier.
Yeah.
Doing a radio show is a weird thing because you're really putting yourself out there.
Weekdays at 2, it's the DGS.
I hope you guys get this about me. I have opinions. We all have opinions.
Just another opinion.
One of the differences you'll find with me, although I can be quite defensive, is that I'm always willing to change my opinion. I'm always willing to take in new information and go, I was wrong about that.
The Dave Glover Show, weekdays beginning at 2
Just another opinion.
on KMOX.
My name is Dr. Brooke Bello. I'm not a political figure. I'm a survivor. When I was a kid, I was trafficked, drugged, and raped. The traffickers forced me to have multiple abortions. Had my mother been notified, she could have intervened, called the police, and saved me from years of exploitation. Last year, I told my story to General Assembly and Governor Pritzker, pleading with them to preserve the right of Illinois' loving parents to know if their daughters are about to undergo an abortion. Governor Pritzker ignored my cry. He took away the very thing that could have saved me and is needed to protect those being exploited today. Parental rights that protect our kids should never be in doubt. This is personal to me, and I hope it's important to you when you vote this November.
Paid for by people who play by the rules.
Hey, it's Bo Matthews on behalf of Beast Plumbing. We want to educate you on what a hose bib is. A hose bib is the small faucet attachment on the outer wall of your home that facilitates access to water in your backyard or your driveway or maybe outside of your business. Well, Beast Plumbing has a special in the month of October. The deal is $25 off replacement of the hose bib if you're seeing issues with yours. Maybe it's leaking, something's wrong with it, the handle's broke, or $50 off the new hose bib that they can install for you. Beast Plumbing does small jobs and they do large jobs, commercial or residential. Call on Beast Plumbing. You should have Beast Plumbing's contact information in your phone. So in the event of a plumbing emergency, or you want to take advantage of this deal, you can get a hold of them. I'm going to give you their brand new number you can call in just a moment. But again, it's $25 off replacement hose bibs and $50 off new hose bibs from Beast Plumbing. That's BEIS plumbing.com, or call them at 314-500-LEAK. Again, the new number, 314-500-LEAK. Tell them Bo sent you to Beast Plumbing.
At 1:30, it's sunny and 72 degrees downtown at the Arch. Trading in shares of Twitter was halted after the stock spiked on reports that Elon Musk will proceed with his $44 billion deal to buy the company after months of legal battles. Bloomberg News reports Musk sent a letter to Twitter offering to complete the deal, which already has shareholder approval at the original price. The trial seeking to compel Musk to buy Twitter is set to start October 17th. Russian troops abandoned a key Ukrainian city so rapidly that they left the bodies of their comrades in the streets. The scene offered more evidence today of Moscow's latest military defeat as it struggles to hang on to 4 regions of Ukraine that it illegally annexed last week. Blue Oval, good news.
Shares of Ford jumping after the car maker's latest quarterly sales results show growing demand for its lineup of electric vehicles. Overall deliveries gained 16% in the latest quarter. EV sales tripled in September. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
And out on the roads, we've got debris 70 east on the ramp from 79. Stall 270 north past Dorset on the right shoulder. Stall 255 west of 55 on the right shoulder. And there is a crash on 141 going south past Marshall Road, and the 2 right lanes are closed. Weather is sponsored by St. Louis City SC. Sunny and pleasant this afternoon with the high of 76. Clear overnight, the low 49. Tomorrow, warm in the afternoon with the high of 82. The new MLS club is now hiring stadium employees for the historic inaugural season to work for St. Louis's professional soccer team. Visit bit.ly/apply at city, bit.ly/apply at city. It's sunny and 72 downtown at the Arch right now. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Carol Daniel for Ophthalmology Associates. For the best eye doctors, you need to see the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Online at yourEyeDoc.com or 314-966-5000.
The past couple of years have been pretty bumpy for business owners, but I've got good news if your business has 5 or more employees and managed to survive the COVID years. you could be eligible to receive a payroll tax rebate of up to $26,000 per employee. Here's what you need to do. Go to getrefunds.com. Getrefunds.com. Now, businesses of all types can qualify, including businesses that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had an increase in sales. To find out if your business qualifies, just go to getrefunds.com, click on Qualify Me, and then answer a few questions. This is key here. This isn't a loan. There's no payback. It's a refund of your taxes. And again, the hard part is getting your hands on it. Well, the team of tax attorneys they have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program and have already returned $1 billion to businesses, and they can help you too. They'll do all the work with no charge up front. They simply share a percentage of the cash they get for you. Go to getrefunds.com. It's available only for a limited amount of time, so don't miss out. Getrefunds.com.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Spark Co-working St. Louis is a new collaborative workspace located within the PwC Pennant Building in Ballpark Village. The Spark Co-working community supports the thriving St. Louis entrepreneurial ecosystem, where you can live, work, and watch the Cardinals play all within one district. The all-inclusive workspace includes furnished month-to-month offices and suites with stadium, city, and arch views, concierge mail service, nitro cold brew coffee on tap, and so much more. Call 314-278-5297 or visit spark-stl.com.
Tom Ackerman here for Building Community with Busey Bank, a podcast series easily accessible at kmox.com/community banking. This month, the United Way celebrates 100 years of helping those in our region. And of course, Busey Bank continues its long-standing involvement. Our October podcast focuses on what the United Way means to our community and the many ways you can get involved. Listen to our October podcast, Building Community with Busey Bank, at kmox.com/community banking.
KMOX is Cardinals Radio.
It's the Cards and Pirates tonight. Ameren pregame show 440. First pitch 5:35. Hear the game on KMOX and streaming on KMOX.com.
You know, it's a good question. I probably would think about it and try to get a sense from people around me how they felt. Certainly, at the time, the intention was to show really immature men, right? That should know better, and it's really more about them.
That's Judd Apatow. He was on with Chris Wallace. Sorry, not Chris Wallace. Oh, yeah, that's right. Chris Wallace doing an interview about. This was about the 40-year-old virgin. That comment there, and there's the scene where Paul Rudd and
Seth Rogen
are doing the scene.
Seth Rogen.
Yeah. They're doing a scene where they're sitting in the apartment, they're playing video games, and they're insulting each other, and doing so with kind of like homophobic jokes, right? Like that was what was going back and forth. There was a constant.
Flash. Didn't see the movie.
Okay. But this is what happened in the 40-year-old virgin. And it's been an interesting topic here lately because people like Judd Apatow that made those movies are certainly not people that want to promote horrible behavior, right? I mean, they're considerate people. He's saying he would definitely have to look at it differently now than when those movies were made, because what he's saying is the point is that you've written a character and what you're showing is what that character or those characters are like, and exposing their flaws or exposing them for what they are, right? I mean, and at that time, that would not have been an uncommon conversation for two dudes sitting playing video games. Like those jokes. They don't mean anything bad by it. They're not trying to diminish anybody. They think it's funny. But obviously, since then, values have changed. People have come around to understanding, okay, it's probably not the right way to do things. It's probably not the way you want to treat any topic like that, because we are going to be a bit more considerate of other people. And the way it's funny because these movies don't feel that long ago.
It's 17 years for that one.
But sensibilities have changed a lot in the last 10 years, in the last 5 years. And I think it's interesting to look at because you can't. This is simple. They're similar to movies that have been made throughout other generations. It's very difficult to go back and say, well, you should have known then what we know now. it's a really difficult argument to make, right? I mean, a lot of, and just go back to the history of music, of movies, music, whatever. They always reflect the time that they are in, and it's impossible to know what the morals are going to be like in the future.
Well, yes, I think sometimes it's you should have known. I think maybe perhaps a better phrasing would be it shouldn't have been as accepted as it was. Do you know what I mean?
Right, but the point is,
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
though, right? I mean, the judgment should be of the era, not the things that reflect the era, right? I mean, if you're making if you look at things like the old TV show, The Little Rascals, some pretty racist stuff in there.
Yeah, or like
but that wasn't the intent. It was that world, and we don't have to say it's okay now. We just have to understand that it was made in that time and not made 100 years later.
This might be what you're saying, Ranj, but even there were some things where you could say, like, wow, the intent wasn't there, but man, that was so bad. They shouldn't have done whatever it may be. But then there's like rapey stuff from 80s movies where, come on, like there's no way, no one ever thought that rapey things were okay.
They weren't viewed that way, though.
I mean, is there an example in particular you're talking about? Because I can't, I'm not saying it didn't exist. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
I'm thinking of is the 16 Candles where the girl is passed out.
Yeah.
And the kids say, I could have done this or that. And he's
You
like,
didn't
well, why
see
don't
16
you?
Candles?
No, I don't think so.
Man.
That's the Molly Ringwald, right?
Yeah,
I didn't
But
see
I
it.
mean, that would have been, they were basically joking about raping her. I mean, that's what that would have been if she were passed out and they did that.
Well, that would be the literal translation. I don't think that was the conversation is here, sleep with this girl. It was, you can date her. She's yours.
They use the word violate.
No, he said I could.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong.
I think
don't get me
there
wrong.
are-
It's when you go back and look at all these things in retrospect, it's terrible.
Well, I mean, stuff like.
But there's a reason why those things didn't get an uproar at the time.
Right. There's a Christmas movie, and it's not White Christmas, but Bing Crosby is in it.
Holiday Inn.
Is that where they're dressing in blackface at
Yes.
one point? And I had never seen the movie until a couple of years ago. It was on, I think, Prime, and around Christmas time, and I like to take in movies, Christmas films. So I turned it on, and that part came on. I went, "Oh, good Lord! Okay, they were doing this back in the 40s,
right?
But I think it was 40s, right? 1940, 1950. And you feel like, yeah, I mean, I know that was the thing at the time, but you kind of should have known better. That shouldn't have been okay then. I understand that there are certain things that are okay for the time, and we've moved past them. And then there are other things that are like way past that, where we shouldn't have ever been okay with those things.
100%.
And it's crazy that we were okay with those things. I also understand the idea that he's trying to present that the joke is not the joke. The joke is that these people are like this.
That they're idiots.
And I love the show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
And those people are terrible people on the show. And that's the joke. Like, they will make these comments that are horrible. And the horrible comment isn't the joke. The joke is that these people are just terrible people. And there's a difference in those things. And there are some shows and some movies that you understand that joke, but then a lot of other times it just doesn't land and it doesn't seem right.
It's just fascinating to me. And by the way, I'm not trying to suggest that these things that we now look at and go, oh, because you know, at the time, it's hard to explain, but at the time, there wasn't a big outrage about some of the stuff that happened in American Pie, as an example. And one of the things that Vice News did recently was they had a bunch of teenagers, like current teenagers in 2022, sit down and watch some of these movies from that era. Like Legally Blonde, American Pie was one of them. Dude, who stole my car? Dude, where's my car?
Dude, who stole my car?
It's a horrible.
It's the
horrible.
same.
Don't get me wrong. It's a horrible movie. You don't even need to know it.
Yeah.
But it was.
Dude, where's my Kia?
Yeah. It was interesting to me to see their reactions to things that now are so obviously wrong.
Yes.
Like in American Pie, the scene where they set up the webcam to broadcast Nadia changing clothes is so horrific now, knowing what we know now, that happens to people, that there's a thing that's called revenge porn, that we know this is a terrible thing. I don't know why, but at that time, it did not create an outcry. It didn't.
Were they supposed to be showing how awful they were, or was it just kind of part of the plot?
I think it was part of the.
You know what I mean?
Most of the
In
movie
American
is about
Pie.
how terrible high school boys are.
Yeah,
and it's about.
But it's set in a way that it's funny, though.
Well,
right. That's not set apart as like, and this was especially bad. It was just
no,
part
it wasn't
part
it-
of the
yeah.
hijinks.
Right.
Yeah, it was part of the hijinks. Here's a bunch of
Yeah.
older, upperclassmen who are about to graduate, who
Right.
are all trying to do the before they graduate. Like that's
their goal.
That's their whole goal for the movie.
And they make a pact.
Yes, that they're all gonna do it
Yep.
before they graduate.
Yep.
And this one attractive exchange student ends up in his room, and he leaves the room while he sets up the camera. It is
awful.
like I never thought
and
about
they,
it.
and
Like
they
how
planned it in advance.
they planned
They're
it.
like,
Yes,
yeah, dude, you got a camera. You know, like this. I mean, and I'm saying is, it's hard to believe now
Yeah, that's awful.
that at the time didn't have people going, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
What are we doing in this movie? But it didn't.
Because there is a difference. I think we brought this up. There's a difference between doing something that's cringy because you're showing just
The
how
terrible,
awful
yeah,
that
yeah.
person is or that behavior is, and saying, look, we're making a mockery of you because it's so cringy, and something just being part of good old hijinks. This is what we do.
but also it backfires on him spectacularly
For sure.
in that moment because he gets embarrassed on the camera, and maybe I guess you could argue there's a lesson there.
But the way
like
they
the
played it
lesson
off,
is,
though,
hey,
is also terrible because in the end, she still ends up liking him, which is super
Right.
weird.
Super awful.
Like super weird and not
Bad.
real. I mean, my only explanation for that one, I'm just trying to figure out why none of us, because nobody thought that's a crime. This is terrible. This movie should never be shown. I know there were people that didn't think it was funny. Like they would be like, that's not funny. And that was about the end of the protest there. And I wonder if it's because at that time, this is 1999, that kind of thing wasn't happening. So it was not seen as a thing that was happening to real people. But now we know it happens to real people. And that partly changes how we view these things. It wasn't just because you remember in the 80s, I don't even remember the plot, but the 80s movie Porky's. And
I never
I
saw
only
Porky's.
remember the cover from the
movie store.
The
Right.
movie store.
Yep, right.
Because
Well,
there was like a hole, right? Like an eye hole or something?
Yes, because these boys
On the
figure
cover?
out there's a way to look into the girl shower.
Oh, that's what it
And
was.
that's what they're doing. And again, at that time, it didn't have that same reaction. I mean, that's a crime.
awful.
That's
It's
something.
so violating.
Yes,
It's
but
terrible.
at that time, that is not how it was perceived or how it was received when the movie came out.
So what this all folds
Which is
into
kind of weird.
is the conversation that you hear a lot from entertainers, from creators who are either writers or directors or whatever, that or comedians even do this, where you can't get away with that now, can't do that stuff now.
Yeah.
And
by the way, it's
maybe
probably it's a good thing that we
yeah,
can't.
like maybe a lot of this stuff, it's good that you can't get away with it anymore.
100%.
Yeah.
Not everything is good, and you should be able to do whatever you want. There should be every now and then some repercussions for doing stupid stuff.
And I think in our culture, in our society, there's some things where like, this is legal, not legal, good, bad, whatever it is, right? But then when you're talking about art, for instance, there could be a more gray area as far as what is a true, like you're telling a story, an important story, and maybe there are some difficult scenes to get through, but there's a redeeming element to it because you're telling the story of the Holocaust, something that truly happened. And then you can also point out societal ills, say it's a fictional story, but you're pointing out misogyny or whatever it may be, sexism, and you show just how bad it is. But then I do think some people try to get away with just gratuitous sex or violence because it sells, and they go, oh, well, there's a redeeming element to it. I think some discernment needs to be used in entertainment. When is it a redeeming element and when is it just gratuitous because it sells, right? I think we have to use discernment in absorbing entertainment. And I would say the three of us probably all would draw that line in a different
Well,
place.
yeah, and I know that we've talked about this not on the air yet, and maybe we'll spend some time, but shows like Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon now, where there are some pretty gratuitous, and I don't know, you can make the argument they're not gratuitous, but there are some really violent sexual things that happen in these shows, and I would make the argument that they're done for the purpose. It's a vehicle, and you can make you could do other things to illustrate these people are terrible, and that the time that they are living in is terrible. But I do believe a lot of the things you see in that show, both of those shows, is to drive home the point. These are awful people that make really horrible decisions and don't care for life. And that's why I think they do it. And you can argue whether or not that's a good thing or not. I get it. I think it's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable.
This is not just about gratuitous violence, because I know we kind of went that direction, but as far as cringy moments in old comedies, do you separate cringy moments from Dude, Where's My Car and separate that from a cringy moment in the classic Blazing Saddles, which you're like, wow, that I can't believe they did that. There seems to be a difference. Is it the fact that Blazing Saddles was pointing out certain
It was
things?
clearly satire.
Right.
It was clearly pointing out the ridiculousness of the existence of that thing, right? Because they use a lot of racist material in that show, but it's not in favor of it. It's not saying this is funny.
It's how
saying
horrible people in the Old West were.
Yes, it's demonstrating how terrible people were and using humor to say, man, can you believe that people are actually like this? And I don't think that was the intent from a lot of the movies that we're talking about.
Right, no.
I don't think that
Not
was the
16
intent
Candles,
of
not
that. No, I don't
Dude,
think
Where's
so.
My Car?
I do think it was an accurate reflection, though, of people's views in that era. That's how high school kids talked. That's how high school kids acted. And I can tell you some of those things because I knew people that acted like those things and said those things and joked about those things. And it means it's a good thing that we're not in that place anymore. It's a good thing that we've learned this is terrible and ridiculous and we don't do it anymore. And I'll tell you, I've watched some of those movies again, including the American Pie movies, which I've always loved. And the last time I watched them, I'm like,
I haven't watched it in a while.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to go back and look and just see how it feels now.
It's not the same. When you look at it now, it is
How's
definitely
that
not
pie
the same.
scene?
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at ThrottleNet. These are the genius IT guys that I've been representing for years and years now. We are number one all the time. Best in customer service from Small Business Monthly. Best in cybersecurity, again, Small Business Monthly. We have an average response time. I love this statistic. The average response time in St. Louis in 2020 by IT companies. You have a problem, you reach out to them, hey, I'm all shut down, help me, was 3 hours. If you got back within 3 hours, you were cool. Ours was 1 minute, 57 seconds, and the guys were very unhappy with that. It takes less than 2 minutes for us to address your problems. Here's a huge thing. We are now offering $500,000 in ransom protection to everyone who uses us. This is part of the deal. You don't pay extra for it. So if you happen to be hit, and you have to pay, we're going to pay it up to $500,000. Now, this shows you how confident we are because no one under our protection has ever had to pay. Go to throttlenet.com/DGS.
CertaPro painters have powers beyond those of ordinary painters.
The power of precision.
That's the power of a skilled local team who know what they're doing.
The power of accurate estimates.
Estimates, not guesstimates.
The power of certainty.
CertaPro painters. That's the power of pro. Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
Hi, this is Ken.
And Laurie Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
Join us Sundays at 9:30 a.m. for your Retirement Highway.
Investment advisory services by individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
I was in foot pain for 20 years, trying to give it relief, buying all these different insoles. I spent thousands of dollars. I bought all these products and not a single one worked. I really, truly needed to have relief in my feet. And the Good Feet arch supports were what gave me the relief I needed. I can wear these arch supports in all my shoes, cowboy boots, running shoes, walking shoes, flat shoes, heels. Makes me so happy. If you ask my husband, he will crack up because there is no store I would rather go in than a shoe store.
Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive, Catty Corner from TGI Fridays, or in Shiloh, Illinois, across from Dearborn.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. Come in and try the Good Feet feeling today. Comfort, energy, performance, and pain relief at the Good Feet store.
This is Corey from Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling, here to tell you about an organization that is near to dear to our company and one we've been proud to sponsor. Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Greater St. Louis Honor Flight flies World War II, Korea, and Vietnam War veterans to Washington, D.C. for free to see their memorials. Greater St. Louis Honor Flight is looking for you. If you know of a veteran, please sign them up for their honor flight. Or if you'd like to lend your support, visit gslhonorflight.org. And for all things heating and cooling, visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
Hello, this is Chad Clayman with ClaymanGroup.com, KLAMEN Group.com, 314-946-9999. We buy houses direct. If you're thinking about selling, you're not sure where you're going to go, you can sign a contract with us. We are the buyer, and we can provide a flexible closing date for you. Once we've written a contract, we can actually adjust the closing date if you need to move it up or you need to move it back. A lot of people aren't sure where they're going to move next, and we can make it easy on you. ClaymanGroup.com, 314-946-9999, 946, all nines.
Hey there, it's Hancock and Kelly for First Mid-Bank and Trust, a local bank right here in St. Louis with over 157 years of experience and 19 locations across the greater St. Louis area.
Yeah, First Mid-Bank and Trust is perfect for small business owners. You need a partner that you can count on, and that is First Mid-Bank and Trust, and they're great for everybody, whether you're saving for your first home, paying off debt, or planning for retirement. Check them out online, firstmid.com. You'll be glad you did.
For 30 years, Banner Construction has offered the finest home exterior solutions featuring James Hardy and Pella Windows to give your home a beautiful new look. Visit bannerconstruction.com or call 314-569-1050. That's 569-1050. Banner Construction.
The Center for Hearing and Speech empowers communication. To see how they can help you, call 314-968-4710 or go to chsstl.org.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends Mark and Neil Gelman from the Gelman team of eXp Realty. Selling your home, every situation is unique. Find the best options that are right for you from the real estate team who offer more options. My friends Mark and Neil Gelman. Check out the only agents that I trust at thegelmanteam.com.
Stress and anxiety reactions following disasters can be challenging. If you were impacted by the recent floods, show me hope, because help is available. Find resources and local providers at moshowmehope.org. Brought to you by the Missouri Department of Mental Health.
For all station contest rules, go to KMOX.com/rules.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444. Back to the show.
Yeah, the show!
With Amy, Chris, and Kevin on KMOX.
All right, quick topper for that last angle we were talking about is how much things, I mean, we're talking about essentially 20 years, how much humor has changed, movies have changed, like ideologies have changed, our understanding and acceptance of people, and our understanding that the things we used to do are not okay just because we used to do them. Do you think that's going to continue to accelerate? Because I feel like it's accelerating, which, by the way, I think is a good thing. I'm not complaining about that. I don't want us to keep repeating the stupid things we did in the past. We should learn from them and get better from it. But I feel like it's only speeding up because you have the ability for more messages to get out there, for more people to be heard with the way the world is now.
I hope it, I think it's going to, I think intent will have to matter in the sense that Steve Carell said they couldn't make The Office today. And I wonder if they could, only because the whole point of The Office was just how clueless Michael Scott was.
Right.
I'm trying to think through of what would, I mean, there's that show is so cringy. I mean, it's, genius writing, but also it's uncomfortable to watch. But I thought that was the point. Do you think intent is going to matter?
Yeah, I think so. It's what Judd Apatow is talking about here. It's you're illustrating how ridiculous and dumb these people are, not espousing those views.
But some of it, like some of those type of bro movies, I'm like, you're not trying to redeem anything. You're just trying to go for a cheap laugh.
Well, I think you could. That's a discussion you can have regarding Seinfeld, even, because there's a lot of stuff in that show that when you go back and look at it, you think, oh, I don't know about that. Mm-hmm. But the joke is, again, that those people are kind of terrible. Like, that's the joke, is that they're terrible. But in the 90s, some of the conversations they were having are conversations that people had in the 90s. And I don't think any of it, at least on that show, from my perspective, I don't think any of it's malicious, not intentionally.
I don't think it was in general in that time. It was not meant to be malicious, but what we didn't know is that
some people were.
Right, but what we all didn't know in general was that was actually hurting people.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the part that was considered, and thankfully that is considered way more now. DGS coming up after the news here on KMOX.
Crank up on a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath.
Maryland.